Yup. God damn, you were loading that up, weren't you? Fucking catfish.
I gotta find a new thing for catfish, or outside of catfish.
Welcome, everybody. Unintelligent Intellectuals, Volume 3. Thank all four of you guys for listening and tuning in today. I feel like we should start off recapping our last, or going off of the conversation that we were...
You have a couple of bullet points that you want to go over.
So I would like to continue the conversation from last time. First and foremost,
you really like men in tights.
I love men in tights. And I don't want to expose my taint. And you and your fucking graphs, man.
Yeah.
That's But sums up last video. So if you missed it, don't worry, I helped you out. But seriously, I was doing some research on pedophiles because I was curious. I was like, man, that 86 pedophiles were molested. That's a high percentage, man. I'm curious about how, like, if there's any other studies.
My graphs?
Yeah, even your fucking graphs. Well, that could be a shirt too. But I came across this one that was that they asked a bunch of pedophiles that they've already been charged and they have this history and they know that they have this history, and they ask them, or I don't know if they asked them before they volunteered the information, but however it was said, 61% of them had said that they were molested as children. And it's like, oh shit, that's still the majority. That's a high percentage. Mm-hmm. And then they took a polygraph, quote unquote. And then after the polygraph, not the results of the polygraph, but just after the polygraph, 30% of them said that they were molested as children. So it's like, oh, maybe half of them were lying just to garner sympathy for, what they had done, or they already like have this really negative stigma, where you go to jail and they're just like, a bunch of murderers and rapists, and they're just like, oh, this guy's a pedophile, this asshole, So,
yeah, that's kind of what they say.
Yeah, yeah. They don't do anything to them or anything like
Followed by a multitude of horrific acts.
Solid sodomy.
A good old SNS.
Get blasted. Bussy.
They're bussies.
But and then I found something else that was like, oh, they interviewed 38,000 people, and it's like only like 4 of them said that they had been harassed as children, and they've been sexually abused as children, but that's not a strictly pedophile thing. I mean, it's not the subject group wasn't strictly pedophiles. I don't know how they got the information from 38,000 people, but like with all data, it's like everything could be skewed one way or another depending on like where they went, who they talked to, and what people are willing to admit. And I think that's the big problem with that statistic, where it's like they're missing like 2 really big groups. They don't talk about the people who have the pedophiles who get away with it. They're not going to be like, oh, I was raped as a child and I'm a pedophile. They're not going to volunteer that information. I don't think there's too many people out there.
My name is Steve and I am a pedophile.
Yeah. Hi, Steve.
It works if you work it.
Yeah. So that's going to be... Yeah. So that's a big group of people who are not really being identified. And then also the people who have those kind of tendencies and they don't act on it. They're not so likely to... I can't imagine that people like that are going to be like, oh, actually, I could be a pedophile, but I choose not to.
It's a mental health thing.
Yeah.
It's a disconnect.
Yeah. So... But I mean, like, I wish people had conversations on that kind of level, where it's like, we talk about the facts and okay, like
I don't even
these
know if I want to have
delineations.
that conversation.
I don't. Yeah,
Just
no,
because the way society has been going.
yeah, not about this
Everything,
specific. Yeah,
everything just goes in these like snowballing directions that just make no sense at all. So like, you start trying to have a rational conversation about like what like creates a pedophile or how does a pedophile think, and you're gonna end up next thing you know within like 2 months the ACLU is gonna be like pushing to like make it legalized.
Oh god, they're gonna have pedo cafes and
Well, they're already doing that in California.
what? Oh shit! I don't
Okay,
for
so
pedophiles.
it's you have to explain. I have to. It takes a while to explain. So
No
it
worries.
used to be in the state of California.
Yeah.
There was a 10-year um, uh, age gap.
Yeah.
I believe it's 10 years.
Okay.
God, I can't remember if there's a maximum age for the predator. Basically, it's like a shit.
Oh,
I
is it
should have
like
looked this
the?
up.
You're all good.
I believe it's a 10-year age gap. And I because for some reason I don't want to say it starts at 18. It might be like 21 or something like
Yeah.
that. You know what? Fuck this. Talk about something else and I'm going to look this up.
No, I was like, yeah, but well, not about. I'm not really concerned about this conversation and people being super factual about pedophiles in particular.
Well, this is a law that's
but,
been passed.
Oh, okay.
So,
But it's like, yeah, I mean, since we started talking about it, we might as well talk about,
the NBA free agency's been recently going on.
But I get emotional about pedophiles, so I'm not gonna be, I can say whatever shit over here, but real life, I got 3 kids, like, yeah, I'm killing you. I'm not. Yeah, it's not fucking. Fucking Blutos. But no, but I'm just saying, like, the way that people converse in general about anything, like any and everything, like instead of being just so tribal and focused on trying to get the other person to agree with them or other people to pull on their side, just to be like, all right, let's talk about the facts, or this is why I disagree with this pool of data that you're utilizing, and maybe this is how it's skewed, or this is outdated for this reason, or this is...
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Now I know. There was an age minimum on the underage, so it's 14.
Okay.
And it's a 10-year gap. Yeah. So I guess like someone who's 24 who has sex with a 14-year-old.
That's legal?
It's not legal.
Oh, okay.
Okay, the original law was set up for a woman who is 14 who has sex with a 24-year-old man. Or up to a 24-year-old man.
Okay.
I believe. Can be determined by the judge that it's not a sex offender.
Wow.
No, you have to wait because there's a reason. It's because the law is so old that women didn't have jobs.
Oh.
So
okay,
if you're preventing the man from being able to generate an income to take care of the child that is had by an underage woman. So it's being able to erase that stigma so that they could be able to get a job and pay for the child.
Oh, I see.
So there's a reason for it.
Okay. So
whether you agree with it or disagree with it, there's a reason for it.
It's more like functional long term in terms of...
But homosexuals were claiming that it was discriminating against homosexuals.
Oh, that seems like
because men who are 24 can have sex with a man who's 14-year-old, who's a boy who's 14. So now the law has included men. So now men can potentially be not categorized as a pedophile if they're like 27 and have sex with a 17-year-old.
You hear that?
But that's up to the judge.
Young priests.
I picked the perfect time to join the seminary.
R. Kelly is screaming in his grave. I mean,
I'm too late.
Why are you doing this to me, man?
I think it's still some type of charge that they get, but the judge can determine that can classify it as not having to register as a sex offender.
Yeah, well, they're looking out. I get that because they're
The
doing
law was
less.
originally looking out for just single moms.
Right, right. So they're doing less of um, punishment, like pound of flesh type of thing, and more of okay, well, let me see what's
Yeah, you're
functioning
a sex
best
offender. Every
for.
6 months you have to register where you are.
Yeah, yeah. And then you
Your
have to
employers
introduce
all
it to
know.
your
Like you have
yeah,
to like tell your neighbors.
yeah. Hello, I brought you this cake. Oh, nice cake. Hey, come on in. Oh yeah. Hey, these are my kids. Oh yeah. I just
I'm
came.
gonna go.
Oh, oh.
So I'm gonna go.
I'll tell you about this later, man. Don't worry about it.
Maybe like a couple weeks from now, you'll just never see me, and then I'll just come, and then I'll tell you why you haven't seen me.
Yeah, I'm gonna come all right. All over. He's like, no.
Yo,
Yeah.
don't be alarmed if I'm ever in the window looking out.
No, I'll keep. Yeah, no, this neighborhood keeps real close eyes on your kids. Don't you worry.
Do you need a babysitter?
Yeah,
Oh man.
yeah. But pedophiles aside, just the way people talk to each other is just like, oh yeah, it would be nice if people just had more logic based conversations or just didn't regard everybody else who didn't agree with them as like the spawn of Satan. That would be pleasant.
I would agree that would be a little bit nicer.
Feel like we be able to get some stuff done, but who knows? No, I'm pretty fucking sure we'll get some stuff done. But yeah. Oh, I looked up something about same thing about porn stars. I was just kind of curious. I was like, huh, like I wonder if any of them been molested as children, or as like, or if they have daddy issues and stuff like that, or maybe they're just in it
I
for
think
the
it's
money,
sexual
or
like assault and or molestation.
yeah. I didn't find any good statistics on that, but hey, I can't be upset with it. I feel
There
like
is child trauma.
yeah, yeah, it's a real thing. I was watching this one thing. I forgot what his name was. It's he's a young dude. And he just started a school. Not just started a school, but like I think 2 years ago he started a school, like a boarding school. And he started with 8 kids, and now he has 40. He's just teaching young men. It's in Atlanta, teaching young black men in disadvantaged areas how to just go through life. Like he teaches them how to like change oil. He teaches them how to read and write. You know, and just like at school in general. But like the thing he's big on is discipline, and and he would be like, he's like, oh, it's like you're gonna have to do this, or I'm gonna destroy you. And then it's like, and it's not like he like closed fists or anything like that, but he'll just make them do like a lot of high intensity workouts and to
Okay.
burn themselves out, like as a punishment for not doing things the right way. Like in the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where Splinter made all the guys like, oh, that's 10 backflips, and so so it's like,
Oh
man,
my god.
it's showing my age now, but so I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool concept, and his whole thing. I lost my train of thought. I mean, I could talk about him, but what was I talking about before that? Like yeah. Anyways, but no, but it was a cool it was a cool fucking interventions, like, and the big thing that he said, now he bought like 3 different properties, and he's trying to build some like clean up the infrastructure, and I think idealistically he wants to have a boarding school, and he has like 40 kids or so. But he would talk about molestation, like the biggest. Someone asked him like, what's the biggest problem that you have, or that the kids have, and it's like you would expect something like, oh, like disenfranchisement, like a troubled household, not a lot of opportunities, probably drugs in their community, blah blah blah. And he's like hands down, number one issue is molestation. I was like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like a taboo subject in especially like inner city African American communities. We're not gonna be like, oh yeah, like,
It's massive in them.
yeah, yeah. And so it's just like put everything in perspective for me. I was like, wow, I didn't even.
It's a lot.
Yeah, and he said that's the big reason why he wanted to do a boarding school, because he's like, just to get them out of that situation. I was like, wow, man, that's crazy. That's crazy. So,
well, look at what is it, Tyga.
What about Tyga? I don't know.
He was 24, dating 17-year-old Kylie Jenner, and was essentially grooming her.
Yeah.
At least I like to claim that he groomed her.
Yeah. He should have out in California.
Are you kidding me? I bet the mom filmed it.
Yeah.
The mom filmed it, was like, God, jeez, I can't wait to exploit this daughter.
Yes. Another one down. Cha-ching.
Because I'm a capital C whore.
Yeah. Capital C whore. That's it. Oof.
That's a nice way of saying that word.
Oh, man. But, yeah, pedophilia that's a serious thing, man. I can't even, like I said, I can't even imagine. Ugh. Yeah. What's the name of that guy? There was an old guy who adopted a daughter. Then he like.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
When she ended up becoming of age.
That's Woody. Is it Woody Allen?
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah, it's Woody Allen. Woody Allen. And they also was raping his son, I think. Because that's a documentary that came out.
Jesus.
Or molesting the son.
Yeah.
Fucking his son. and then he started fucking his stepdaughter.
Yeah. That he raised from whatever age to adulthood.
Who wasn't even American.
Yeah. R. Kelly, are you listening?
That's beyond R. Kelly.
Yeah.
He was in his like 50s, and she was like 22 or something like that when they got married.
Yeah, man, that's. Oh.
I don't know. I always hated him.
We have so much in common.
I always hated him. His movies were just weird.
Yeah.
This neurotic Jew constantly having sex with women but feeling like insecure about himself. It was very annoying.
It's like, oh.
And then he's like raping children.
Yeah. Oh, man. That's why he's insecure about himself.
You know why he's such a great director? He copied Roman Polanski.
This is so hard. I can't.
Oh, fuck them. They didn't really cancel. They barely canceled Woody Allen, and they gave Polanski an Oscar for Best Director after he was convicted of raping a 13 or 14-year-old.
Yeah,
that's the one where Meryl Streep was standing up applauding.
Yeah, yeah.
But Trump's so bad.
Yeah, whatever, man.
Donald Trump's terrible, but man, Roman Polanski he can direct the shit out of a film.
It's like, yeah, he didn't grab him by the pussy. He straight on penetrated and sodomized, but that was a good movie.
He committed.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't get it.
He committed to the pussy.
Oh yeah, he just you can't tease. If you're full,
shut the fuck up.
If you dive in, like, then you're okay. You can't just
stop
tickle around the 12-year-old.
Why is it keep getting younger? You shouldn't laugh. That's terrible. I still I don't know how that guy is still able to get movies in the United States.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm laughing, but I'm legit.
Because he can't re-enter the country because he'll be arrested.
Mm,
But he's living in like France and they don't extradite.
yeah,
So he's a
must
convicted
be
pedophile.
nice. Nah. Yeah, like I'm laughing about, it, but it's just like
He's
I
still
am
able to make movies
super.
and make money off of that in the United States. But was
Yeah,
convicted in the United States of sodomizing a 14-year-old.
very serious. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I watched this one thing. This dad who was in a courtroom, and like this guy who
Oh, the guy who said, "I'm gonna kill you."
yeah, like, and then like he's asking the judge, he's like,
Can I have 5 minutes of that?
yeah, and then
And then
and
they said no.
they start chuckling.
They tries to bum rush him.
Yeah, I was just like, and like
And that guy's a big guy.
yeah, he was not a baby. Man.
He looked like he was over 6'2" and like 250. Like he was not a small man.
That's a fortified cereal eating dude right there.
Cereal? That man eats sausage in the morning.
That's a spinach munching motherfucker right there. But it's like, and I laughed. I was like, "Oh shit, yeah!" But then I like sat down and thought about it, and I was just like, "That is fucked up, though." But I was like, I can't even. Like I can really understand how he feels. Like it's not even he wasn't doing it like he was legit.
Well, that's why there's so many conspiracy theories about like the pedophile cults and the elites like having these sex parties with children, and then the orgy island with Epstein.
What? Like I just heard something recently about like these
Ghislaine.
guys were just yeah.
Ghislaine.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't even want to.
I mean, I'm well versed in it for the most part.
There's a guy who it was like I don't know if they were a congressman or not, but it was like they were they had like they saw these prostitutes on a regular basis, and then one of them got mad because like one of them was 17, and they're like, what? Oh, how come you didn't? This is messed up. We can't do this anymore. And then like as soon as they turned 18, they started plugging them up again. It's like nothing ever happened.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah,
to an extent, because at least it's.
At least they waited.
At least that guy was like. At least someone showed some reservation.
Yeah. How dare you? Yeah, that's true, but it's just.
It's just like what is it the hazelnuts on the pizza shit.
Wait, what's that?
That's the Pizzagate thing from the Podesta emails.
Sounds gross.
Okay. So, do you remember Pizzagate?
No.
So, I don't know how valid this is.
Yeah.
But it just seems weird. So, with WikiLeaks, there's all these emails that have been leaked.
Yeah.
I mean, we can go into the more political stuff instead of pedophile stuff.
Yeah.
But, so basically, I think his name is John Podesta. So he was big with Hillary's campaign.
Okay.
And then he's just with the Democratic Party in general. Like I don't even know how much time he spent as an actual elected politician, but he's in politics.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys.
Yeah.
So he had his emails leaked because of this leak that happened with the WikiLeaks. And there was all these different there was a few of these emails where he was talking about the pizzas and shit. But the thing is, oh God, I forget the connection off the top of my head now. George Soros. Okay. You know that name, that huge billionaire donor with the Democrats, right? So
quite a little vote recently, yeah.
He has like an actual connection with somebody whose boyfriend runs like a pizza shop in DC where it's known that a lot of politicians go. Okay. Democrats, Republican, doesn't matter. It's not a Democrat thing. It's just it just makes sense, right? There's some donor that's connected to this, and then the people go there and eat, and it's just whatever, right? Yeah. But because of that connection, and George Soros donates so much money to all these different campaigns, and then there's these very weird emails with Podesta, like, remember to bring those pepperoni pizzas in the hot tub were last night were amazing. And then it's like, make sure that they have It's like, do you have like,
Thin
it's
the
like
slices.
we need like pizza. We need these many pizzas tomorrow, and then like make sure to bring the hazelnuts, or ask if they have any
Oh,
hazelnuts.
yeah.
Now
So it's like
hazelnut.
it's very clearly
It could be just a fucking hazelnut,
nasty ass pizza, but
but
it just
hazelnut.
sounds like
No, hazelnut is a term that has been identified with in chat rooms for pedophiles who
mm,
actually do get child sex
oh wow.
slaves. A hazelnut is a mixed race child
Oh okay. Damn. I
because
just
there's
thought
different
like
code words.
it sounds like a code word just because it's like ew hazelnut on pizza. That's gross.
Well, I know it's like, but make sure to bring hazelnuts or ask if
Yeah.
they have any hazelnuts, which could be
Yeah.
something different. Like
Yeah. It could be. Who
it just
knows
could be
what?
the peanuts. But then someone brought like an AR-15 and shot up the pizza place because he
Mm.
thought the kids were being kept in the basement. So
Oh
he was
shit.
trying to free them.
Oh.
It was
Oh.
probably somebody who was like schizophrenic
Yeah,
and then like
yeah.
got
They're
into
piecing this
that.
thing
Yeah,
together, and
yeah.
then you're just like, oh,
But it's called Pizzagate because everybody was assuming that they were just having
wow,
sex with kids there.
wow. And they probably have a bunch of different things that way. That's just
But
like the stuff
that's a
that's
conspiracy.
visible.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, it's hard to tell to be able to figure out what's going on when it's just like, these people are like in a situation where they're incentivized to lie.
Well,
So
yeah. Also, I don't think people. I don't think because nobody wants to think about pedophiles. So nobody like
yeah,
most people, not like me, are
yeah,
not thinking about that stuff.
yeah. It
But when
was,
you actually look into the court cases and everything like that, I mean, like you never hear about somebody who's caught with 12 pictures and one or two videos.
yeah. It's always like
It's
a ridiculous amount.
like
Yeah.
20,000
Yeah,
files that are like
yeah,
reduced pixelated into like people's like screens. Like it's ridiculous.
yeah. I remember.
They've
Oh,
found that before. Like it'll be
mm,
like something inconsequential like a sports team or something like that
mm.
is there. But if you click on the name of the sports team,
It's actually
it's
like
actually
something
just
else.
unbelievably reduced size pictures and videos of child pornography.
Wow.
And that's how they'll like hide it on their stuff. But it's always like in the thousands. Like Jared
Yeah.
from Subway,
Oh,
his was like tens of thousands of images of videos of child pornography.
shit, man.
And those are like actual kids, so you can't imagine what is
Yeah,
actually happening
yeah.
like in the
That's
underbelly of any country.
yeah. I remember when I signed up for a FBI like newsletter or something like that, like just to
No,
keep
it's
up to date
absurd.
with like, oh, I wonder what's going on, or
And the
like, and I
first
was
year and a
expecting.
half that Trump was elected, it just so happened to be that he was not necessarily
100%
yeah
like the reason why
yeah
this
the
yeah
FBI obviously this is like a 12 years in the making of like
yeah
building cases,
yeah
but within like the first year and a half, 3,200 people were arrested in connection to child sex trafficking.
yeah it's so much worse because like
Just in like 5 states or
yeah,
something.
but like on the newsletter like even and this was years ago, this was way before Trump, like you think like on a regular basis it'd be like, oh yeah, gang this or white collar crime this, or this is what like
Child
a
sex
huge
trafficking is a massive business.
it happens so almost everything that comes out, like I got weekly things, well, so I don't know if it comes out
Dozen
daily,
kids
but
found in
it's
the basement of somebody's house.
there's
Like
always something about child trafficking. There's almost always, and I was just like, this seems a little absurd, man. Like this is
it's just like the opioid crisis.
yeah.
Like unless you follow the news on that stuff, you know about it. But like most people aren't thinking like, oh,
This is a really
oxycodone
big
and
thing. Yeah,
Xanax are like a massive issue, and it's like destroying like entire like cities.
yeah. That's crazy, man.
Or like West Virginia, like the state of West Virginia is fucked because of opioids.
Yeah. So it's intense, man. I had no idea that it was that massive. But it's really disturbing. So I'm just like, I laugh about this whole like yeah, child 12-year-old.
Well, yeah, I mean,
But
it's funny it's funny when you can make jokes on like an individual level, but you talk about the greater problem. It's
yeah,
like
it's a
alarming.
big fucking yeah. This is an issue, man. But
Well, there was an island for
yeah,
it.
yeah. Ugh.
Well, no, at least
I wonder where all these conspiracy
at
theories are
least with
coming
that
from.
island, it looked like most of them were at least like in their teens, so it wasn't like children.
Yeah, I guess. Fucking shit.
Well, that isn't that different. Isn't pedophilia somebody who hasn't gone through puberty, and then
Um,
when you're in like a
I mean,
14-year-old,
yeah,
that's considered
at least
statutory rape.
they're aware. At least that they don't. It's not like, oh well, I was playing Pokemon cards and this is different. What are we doing now? Versus someone who like has an
I think I'm
idea of what's
correct.
going on. Yeah,
Like adolescence, that's considered pedophilia. Like if
yeah.
a 22-year-old engages in sexual activity with a 14-year-old, it's not you're not a pedophile
Okay.
per se.
Yeah, yeah. I see
You're
that.
like
I see what you're
considered a
saying.
sex offender, and it's like you're charged as like statutory rape.
Yeah,
Because a pedophile, that's like
like
indecent exposure with a minor or something like that,
yeah.
or sexual misconduct with a minor,
Okay.
sodomy of a minor.
Yeah,
The minor is more the focus point. Or I
yeah,
think if you're like 15 or 16, it's some type of a different charge. You're still technically a sex offender,
yeah.
but it's not. I don't think it's considered a pedophile because pedophiles are people who are attracted to
Like little.
that
Oh, I
innocence
see.
of
I see.
children.
Right, right, and that's a different thing than someone who's attracted to like a young
A
teenager.
massive
Or
difference between a 9-year-old girl and like a 15-year-old girl.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so I get that. I like I
Not that
can't
one is
say.
better than the other, but I mean,
Yeah,
like, well,
yeah,
actually, the child is probably worse.
yeah. But they're still
I
both
think
like
no,
taking
it's because the child
advantage.
is worse because the
What
child you're
was it?
dealing with like a bad sexual moment at 16 is bad, but it's not.
Yeah,
The
not
amount
crippling towards
that
the
it does like at
mental
six
health.
years old.
Yeah, yeah,
Because at
and
6 years old, then you could end up getting sexually active like 11 or something
yeah.
like that.
And I think it would be different, like if there weren't like like you're locked into a certain kind of lifestyle all the way up to the point of 18, generally speaking. So it's like, and didn't Epstein didn't he have somebody on his team or whatever who just like who kind of like seduced like teenage girls, and so it was like, oh yeah, what are you doing, and I'll help you with this and I'll help you pay for that, and da, da, da. So it's just like
Well, there's a
it's
whole web
still
of connections. I mean, that's why everybody's hoping that Ghislaine is able to have her day and speak on it.
yeah, yeah,
But it looks like they're keeping that
yeah,
from happening. And then COVID kind of stalled that as well.
yeah. So I mean, so there's still it's still again like
I don't
it's
care.
it's a different type of offense,
And I think
yeah,
it's
but
weird that
it's
it's
just
become political.
yeah.
At least I think it's kind of become political because it seems like conservatives are more.
I thought you meant political in the sense of like, oh, there's a lot of politicians who are found like to have connections.
No,
to this.
I meant the degree of who wants to hear the knowledge about what Epstein had. Like for when Epstein was found dead in his
So
cell,
yeah,
vast majority, at least I think, of the reaction were conservatives or like libertarians. Like those people were
yeah,
the ones saying, "Oh, well, they killed him."
mm. Yeah. You know what?
Whereas more liberal people, because I think because there was so much connections to the Clintons, they were just like,
Yeah,
"Oh
exactly.
no, he hung
Exactly.
himself."
Yeah, I think it's because of
Like we're
the
more
tribalism. We're so
yeah.
focused on like people being labeled, like what things represent.
Like the fact that that isn't a massive story even till this day is boggles my mind.
yeah. It's just like they're afraid that because people
Like,
could it's like a guilty conscience. You when you commit a bunch of character attacks and then it's like the character that you support is attacked, then you're just like whoa, we're not gonna talk about that. So it's like I think it
we're
comes
more
from that
we're still
tribalism.
more worried about who's racist and who's not racist when
Yeah.
we had a guy that was connected to Saudi princes and Prince Philip, right? Wasn't it Prince Andrew? I
Yeah,
think it was
yeah,
Prince Andrew. So it's like literally royalty around the world and politicians around the world and billionaires around the world were associated with this guy going to an island where
yeah,
they had sex slaves and underage sex slave.
Mm-hmm.
And he just dies in his prison, and there's no security footage of it, and
yes, that's it.
there was no one else in his cell, and the guards didn't check on him, and everyone's just like, well, things happen, and it's like,
conspiracies aren't real.
You're not even trying to find out who was there.
Yeah. It was supposed to be there. It was the chef talking on the cameras. Oh, that's so weird. He must have hung himself. Strange. Anyways, it's like the China and Taiwan thing when that guy was asked about, oh yeah, Taiwan, and he's just like, and then he pretends like his camera's turned off. And,
yeah, sorry, I couldn't hear you on that one.
I was like, oh shit, that wasn't even clever. Like he was just blatantly like, fuck this guy. Not talking about this today.
Uyghurs? Who are they? It's nobody.
Huh?
I said that right? It's
Uyghurs. Yeah, Uyghurs. Yeah. Oh man.
That's another weird one. If we can delve off of the sex offenders,
please.
There is an active, what is it, like genocide of a group of people.
Yeah,
and nobody cares.
Yeah, we're just like, oh well, sorry for mentioning Taiwan.
We keep talking about how awful, what's it called? We always talk about how awful the Holocaust is.
Yeah.
And how you can never joke about it and this, that, and the other. When there's an active one happening and no one's doing anything to stop it.
Yeah, like, oh, we'll never let Rwanda happen again. Oh, would you look over there? Sorry. Didn't mean to say Taiwan. My bad.
We'll never let Rwanda. Meanwhile, it's like still happening.
Can't, that's the internal affairs.
Yeah, just go on Reddit. You'll see it. People getting hacked with machetes and shit.
It's crazy because I think it was around the time of like those right after or like around the time of 9/11 happening, and they had like this global world global projections about like how the world should be in whatever the next 10, 20 years, and they talk a lot about spreading democracy here, and democracy the solution for all problems, and we have to watch out for terrorism. Terrorism is a big issue. And in China, they were talking. China was like, yeah, everyone has the terrorist group. There's this East Turkmenistan independence movement, ETIM, and it's in the Uyghur region. So they've been fighting for independence. I mean, there's a lot of places like Tibet, and like there's a lot of places in China that they've been fighting for their own independence. But and it's like, and now it's like this is 20 years later. Just like, yeah, not really a terrorist organization. Like, yeah, okay. And then it's like, oh yeah, democracy. Hamas is the duly elected government in Palestine. Like maybe democracy isn't 100% what we wanted it to be. Like it's like these blanket assumptions about what the world needs is like, oh, maybe we're a little wrong. And then it's like we skip over the fact that they were trying to label these a group as terroristic, and then them doing what they're doing. It's like, oh, is that is that okay? Does that make it okay? Like, I mean, I get the whole like calling them terrorist groups because it's like, I guess the way that the Union looked at the Confederacy back in the day, it's like, oh, you're trying to break away from us, and they're fighting to make sure that it stay the same. It's like that's a little different, but they're not. That's not what's happening in East Turkmenistan. Like with the Uyghurs, they really wanted. It's like, oh, like I don't know if any of those attacks that they said were from ETIM were actually legitimate, but now I don't see any rhetoric about that. But you see a lot of violence from organized government against them, and it's not like a civil war type thing. It's just you're not doing what I want. I'll make you do what I want type of thing.
I mean, if people want independence, they're going to go about doing it a certain way.
Yeah.
Just like with the IRA.
Yeah.
In Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
Like they wanted to be away from England.
Yeah.
They just decided to use car bombs as a way to do that. Blow up a school bus or something.
Yeah. This is It was just with the ETIM, it's like the argument whether those things were actually done by them in the first place at all, or if it's all just staged
Well,
in
yeah.
order to try to garner support from the world in order for them to crack down on them like they are now. But who knows? Maybe it is. And there's bad people on every side, or not bad people. I should say, just people are willing to do all kind of wild shit.
Stinky mean people.
Yeah. Oh, these poopy actions against each other. So, yeah, it's a real double standard when it comes to certain things.
So, you have like with Syria, when they were going with their conflict in Assad,
Mm-hmm.
we. I mean, this has been declassified, so like this is not a conspiracy. This is something that did happen.
Actually, yeah.
So we lied about the gas attacks that Assad was doing on his people.
So in order to come in, like that was the excuse that we had to come in and
either
interfere with their.
Either they didn't happen or it was staged. I forget the details, but it was not done by him. He was not gassing his people. But we tried to use that as a way to go into Syria.
Yeah.
And the American people unanimously were like, we are not going into another war.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You already have us in multiple other countries.
Right.
We're not going to go topple another
damn
one.
near neighbors.
And then, of course, after that, we toppled the Libyan government.
Yeah. Oh, but we just supported air support, though.
He's really bad. It's like, yeah, well, now there's open slave markets. So.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Too bad if you're Sudanese.
But, I think they're operating on...
But we tried to do that with Syria, where we
right.
tried to do a regime change based off of a lie.
Yeah. And that's happening all over the world on very high levels, and it's not just like, America is so evil and they're doing all these things. Like
China did it with Hong Kong.
Yeah, everyone's playing those just high intelligence,
took Hong Kong
10 steps ahead games. Yeah. Yeah, so that's a reality of the world that we live in. So like to pretend that it's not, or to like, damn,
that's a burger.
Or to pretend that it's just all a conspiracy and write it all off is cheapening the reality in which we really live in. So,
problem is a lot of the government conspiracies are based on facts.
Yeah.
On any government,
right? And I think it would, and before we could even come together and talk about this stuff, because like it's controversial because like you don't know in real time whether. What the facts are?
Well, because people are naive. They don't want to, or they don't want to admit to things, right? Like they're used to what they see and what they deal with, and they watch their TV, and they don't think like
somebody might be just pulling a fast one on me.
I mean, I guess I can connect these two. So you have like with the Russian bot farms.
Mm-hmm.
We know that they've been trying to. Or not trying to. They are pushing reactions and views in America using Twitter, Facebook, and all this by just... There are literally, like, I don't want to use the word facilities, but like, like a commercial building that just has offices where people's like sole job is literally to just operate fake accounts to generate the dialogue to go in a particular way to piss off Americans.
Yeah.
And we know that back when Russia was was still the Soviet Union, that they were also training people to come over into the United States and infiltrate, school systems, college universities, trying to create division with like. And mess up the whole like viewpoint and ideology of American life. So we know that. But then like you tell like a random person that, and you're like, and they're like, oh, you're just a lunatic, and you're like, no, but like there's KGB agents who have literally said this.
We're still making movies about that kind of stuff now, like
but it's not even forget the movie. Like there's like actual physical evidence of this.
That's how they got the formula for the nuclear bomb, because it's like the thing that they did, like they were playing the intelligence game
on a higher level way before anybody else did. They would make people, in order to be a
You're talking
foreign
about the Soviet
agent.
Union.
Yeah, the Soviet
Well,
Union.
that era in the Cold War in general, like
Mm-hmm.
70% of what was happening was
Mm-hmm.
like purely like just undercover espionage of
Yeah.
like us trying to infiltrate them and them trying to infiltrate us.
Yeah, but what they would do, they would put in order to even apply, in order to be considered for that kind of the espionage, the clandestine like officer, their equivalent of what we have going on, they would have to spend a minimum of like something like crazy like 10 years in whatever country they're interested in, and really like indoctrinate themselves into the culture and understanding the way that things are, and then they could become these foreign agents or apply for these positions, and then at that point it's like they understand the culture on a much deeper level, where like whereas we were more like very simplistic. I don't want to say simplistic. That sounds bad. But
we
it's like
we weren't playing that game.
high of a level of in the intelligence game. Like we're all like, okay,
we were trying to get people to
taking
defect
off.
and get that information. We were trying to turn people.
Yeah.
We were putting our own spies in there. I mean, we were still doing a lot, but
right.
We weren't trying to change the culture of Russia.
Like we were tapering off the military action. Like, all right, that was pretty bad. We're like obsessed with like this economic well-being for everybody. We're trying to talk to everybody in a diplomatic way, in a way that like would prevent this thing from happening again. So we're focusing on all these other levels of international power and hegemony, and whereas where Russia really focused on intelligence, and we're just like, ooh, we weren't ready for that. And then because of that, we didn't really understand. We took for granted what other people.
Well, our
wanted.
ego gets in the way. I think.
Like I think that like that's what happened in Vietnam. Like they've been talking about independence forever, and there's been like movements in that intellectuals go to Paris after a long time, and a lot of stuff happened.
You're talking about something recently, or the actual Vietnam War?
Yeah, like before the Vietnam War, like
that was.
Yeah. Okay. We'll skip that one. But long story short, like it happens on.
Just look it up.
Yeah,
it's declassified.
Yeah, it's there. Yeah, it's interesting. You read it. But but all that being said, like that it's harder for people to digest that, like you said, because they don't want to believe or think that things might be happening beyond my control at this high of a level, and beyond that, I think it's hard for people to just accept, that there's a different way to look at things, like that. People look at things, think differently than I do, and they want different things than I do, and this is how they're going about getting it. And it just, if we're just able to break down communication at the point of, oh, okay, let's be, after we talk about intelligence, be 100% truthful about what I want, what you want, and then work on how to get there. If we're able to have conversations on that level or in that way, it's like, okay, like, oh, like we're having a conversation in order to understand each other, and then we could go from there. Or it's like, oh, I don't want that. I know you do, but I won't be able to help you in that arena. So probably better off working with somebody else doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So
arenas.
Yeah. CM Punk.
See. It looks like the rumors are true.
Yeah. Yeah, look that up too.
Like, coming back.
Yeah. But like you just like I'm trying to find a better way to say this. It doesn't sound too I got to put the intellectual in my unintelligence, but like not the CM Punk thing, but no, like the trying to sum up this whole how to fix the world's problems and And
5 minutes.
Yeah. Here we go. uh, like the most one of the most frustrating things that I like, you have a conversation with somebody, and you talking about whatever they're talking about something, and you guys don't see eye to eye,
Mm-hmm.
and in the middle of it, they're just like, "Oh, let's just agree to disagree." It's like, well, that's redundant. Like, we're already agreeing to disagree. Like, I don't need your permission in order to disagree with what you're saying. Like, we're having a very normal conversation. I'm talking about this.
I feel like when let's just agree to disagree, I feel like that's always that person's wrong.
They're trying to fight for cover. Ah! Let's move on.
I guess it's how they say it.
Yeah. If they like cut you off in the middle of you, like, well, let's just agree to disagree. We're talking in circles now. It's like, no, it's
Well, actually, no, it's not wrong. It's usually the person that you're saying that to, they're wrong, and you're just tired of dealing with them.
Yeah.
Let's just agree to disagree, because I am tired of talking to you.
Yeah. I'll just say that though, like, all right, man, I'm tired. Like,
I'm tired.
I'm tired. You're gonna believe what you believe. I believe what I believe. Like,
you're making me want to go to sleep.
Yeah. Like, it'd be like I like more of a to the point, like, more direct verbiage. Like, I'm not like when I understand that when people are like, "Oh, I'm just tired." Like, all right, let's just agree to disagree, man. Like, we're done here. Like, I understand that, but it's like I feel like for the most part when people say it, and I think it's just like a verbal masturbation thing. Like, they just want to they just want to, let me strut how dare you, strut my intelligence here and showcase that I'm the civil one. And it's like, okay, man. What? No. Could go both ways.
Most people go both ways.
Non-binary. Oh no, that's bisexual. Whatever. There's so many terms. God damn it.
Well, non-binary just means more fun.
Yeah. You go shit,
man. No. I felt something coming and then it snuck away.
Got a little mud butt. Just.
Oh, I hope not. Cause then I'd be just sitting in wet.
Yeah. It's so squishy here. Spill something?
Did you spill something?
Just now, right under me? Interesting. Do you feel like communication has gotten better or worse?
Exponentially worse.
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
Technology fucked it.
Yeah.
that ruined it completely. As I'm on my phone.
Yeah. But like I'm like racking my brain. Like, were we ever good at talking to each other?
Well, yeah, because people could have conversations. Like if I disagreed with what you were saying, it would end with, you're fucking out of your... get the fuck out of here. You don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. It's like, and then like that, and then it'd be like, so you watched the Bears game last night? Like,
nobody. I see. Yeah,
nobody gave a shit.
Yeah.
They cared about like real things.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, why did you cut down the tree that was in that was on my property?
Yeah.
Like, that's what we were getting angry about.
Yeah.
Or like, cut off like the limb. Like people get mad at that because like. Yeah. Oh, your branch is hanging over, and you can't cut that down. It's my tree. Like, it would be something like that.
It's in my space.
People get mad about that, like property issues. They wouldn't get mad over like some like odd, nonsensical social issue.
Yeah. It's like, whatever.
Do you care about black people? It's like, there's no black people in this neighborhood. What are you doing?
Yeah. It's like,
it really doesn't doesn't matter if I do or if I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not interacting with any of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why don't you
it's
go
like,
move into their
city?
city?
There's so much postulating now, where it's like before it was just like people were more like present.
Nobody talked
now.
about race.
Yeah.
Race would be like you're at the table and you'd see Martin Luther King giving a speech, and then it would be two reactions. One, I can't repeat, and the other would be like, just let them live, just let them be who they are, like, and then they would go and then eat their fucking food with their family.
Yeah, yeah. And they're like, oh yeah, like why aren't they just? Yeah, it's about time.
They should be able to learn how to read.
Yeah.
Could you pass the mashed potatoes? Like that's the
matter of fact. But yeah, now it's like a hyper.
Yeah, everything's hyper. Yeah,
yeah.
Or people just don't know anything.
Yeah,
and then they're
postulate that they know everything.
I was just gonna say they don't know anything, and they don't have anything to add to the conversation.
No, but then they'll like
There's too much going on. That's the problem.
Yeah, I see
There's
that.
too much going on.
And and technology
like there are people who know vast amounts more than I do about certain issues.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's a ton of people that I have a conversation with, and I'm like, oh, like you don't have any idea about what's happening.
And instead of them being like, oh yeah, this and I don't really know, but this is my thoughts on this. I was like, that's one thing.
Or they tell me I'm crazy. And I'm like, hello.
Yeah. So anyway, women, you gotta put them in their place. You gotta let them know what it is. You gotta put the foot down, put the boot on their neck. You piece of shit!
Disagree me. I don't feel like arguing with you.
No.
All right?
Oh, you're a piece of shit. Yo.
I don't feel like arguing with you.
Piece of shit. You
and
heard
I heard
me.
what you said.
You know how upset I am about that.
Well, I'm not wrong. I don't like arguing with you because you do too much, and that's too much energy.
I wasn't even talking about you. You're just a person that I just happen to disagree with. That just happened. Oh. Big dick boy! Put her in her place!
Okay, well, I've lost focus.
That's my wife, y'all.
Okay. Yeah, I think that the technology has just put things in such an odd place. And people don't communicate like they used to.
Yeah.
Because before, it's like we had to either meet in person or we call each other on the phone.
Yeah.
And if we're talking to each other on the phone, we had like something that we wanted to talk about. It's like, oh, I haven't seen you in like 2 weeks. What's going on? And then we talk for like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Communication was more about communicating, where now it's like, it's all superficial.
Yeah, it's all postulating. It's like,
it's liking a photo. It's
yeah.
Hey, how's it going? Like, oh, it's going good. Oh, that's cool. What do you like? It's
That's why I think I have a strong.
And then you have like blocking
fake interaction. So, then I could choose not to.
You can block on Twitter. You can unfriend on Facebook. You can do this. So instead of having dialogue with somebody that you don't agree with on somebody, you can just. Well, I'm just going to remove them from my existence. Yeah. And then I'm only going to go and listen and follow things that are going to reinforce what I already believe.
Yeah.
Which is why we're in the position where we're at now, where everything at least appears to be so volatile. Mm-hmm. Because people don't understand. It's like, okay, like not everybody, we always like everybody that is like has a position on abortion is going to have the same position on guns. And then they're all going to have the same position on taxes. And then, like everybody's like trying to like fit into that group because
what's socially acceptable?
No one can be nuanced because people used to be able to be nuanced.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what do you think about this?
Yeah.
And then you would talk about that. And then you would talk about another topic. And then you would talk about this topic.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think about the war in Vietnam? And then like that would be a completely different opinion over what they were just their opinions were on the other issues that they were just talking about.
Yeah.
Whereas now everything is just ridiculous.
Yeah. Hey, you seem good.
Or then there's too many extremes, and then you end up like, well, I have to follow this side because
right. Yeah.
if I don't,
this is what the culture is for this and my industry. In order to make sure I get this next movie deal, I'm gonna have to say certain things in a certain way, regardless of what I actually believe. It's yeah. It's gotten more less real. It's gotten more. Way more about postulation, peacocking versus just like, oh yeah, no, this is where I actually stand. And
yeah, well, like so many people that came out with like the Me Too thing, you're finding out that were doing as bad shit as those people were doing.
Yeah, wow, I didn't know about that shit. That would just.
I mean, that like happens. It's like
Yeah.
Somebody who was like, it's time to stand up for women.
Yeah.
They need a voice too. And then like 5 years later, it's like, oh no, you sexually assaulted like 8 women.
Yeah,
it's like, oh yeah, okay, man.
Yeah. It's like, oh wait a minute. Yeah.
We really do need to step up, don't we?
You said we. You really mean like
you.
Yeah.
It's time to speak out and stop the violence against women. It's like, well, you're the one close fisting them.
Pistol whipping is not a good way to get.
I've never assaulted a woman.
Yeah, it's low bars.
Low bars.
Please don't have hit a woman when you talk about these things. Check.
If we're going to talk about these things, don't actually have done them.
Yeah. Yeah, that fucking sucks. It's not like we go back and take away the technology, but dude, like when I never imagined when I saw this stuff coming out, like all this technology and stuff like that, I'm just like, whoa, everything's gonna be so different. But I didn't even think.
It's a problem.
Negatives,
Well, the problem is the people that grew up with it.
Mm-hmm. They don't know anything
because it came into our lives, so we just saw it as like, oh, this is just another thing that we can then utilize.
Yeah.
Whereas people who grew up with it, that's
my entire life revolves around this. This is.
It's just that technology is normalized.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like we're old enough that we grew up where people actually wrote letters.
Yeah.
Maybe not a long period of time, because like maybe by the time we were like 8, emails were like the thing.
Yeah.
But we still like had a couple of years where like, oh, if you communicate with somebody, it was through a letter or a phone call.
We have stuff in grade school. We're just like, oh yeah, like a
pen pals.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We would write people letters. They have to have stamps.
Learn how to write cursive and all that shit. Like, yeah, it's a different world now.
Yeah. Whereas now, kids who are like 4 years old, they have a cell phone.
Yeah, don't have.
They know how to text. They know how to text, tweet, all of this.
Yeah.
So they're going to grow up with a much different mindset, and they're also going to. That's going to be normalized. So the discourse of how that works is going to dictate how they think that everything works.
Yeah.
Whereas like our parents, they grew up in an era where like, oh, it wasn't crazy for you to see a 45-minute long form interview with one guest on a political talk show.
Yeah.
And there's like no commercials.
Yeah.
Or like there's like 2 commercials and it's the same guy the whole time, and they're asking like very difficult questions, and they're giving the person time to speak, and then they'll ask follow-up questions, and then they'll speak, and then they'll maybe go on a debate, and you're like, oh wow, look how constructive that is.
Yeah.
Oh, there's an hour interview with Malcolm X.
Yeah. Now I'm really.
Whereas now it's 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it ends in
sound bites.
It ends with somebody. Ends with somebody calling somebody an idiot or a racist.
Yeah.
You're just a moron.
Yeah.
You hate America.
Yeah, that's terrible. How can we? Like when I saw this technology coming out, I was like, wow, like we can talk to people, and we could see each other when we're talking to somebody. Like it's almost like a hologram. It's like we're entering into the future. We're able to see things real time as they happen.
we're able to talk to multiple people at the same time about all these different things, and everyone can share their thoughts. This is going to be super constructive. Imagine like a long form interview with 20 people who think differently. Like, oh my God, like how much growth is going to come out of this? And they're all going to go and share all their different thoughts and ideas that they've experienced through this interaction with all their friends and family, and then they're going to carry that on and incorporate into that way that they think, or like understanding, and then they're going to go and have other conversations with a bunch of other people.
Because you're stupid.
Yeah, how dare I? Yeah. Oh, you fucking idiot.
You assumed constructive things were going to happen.
I just like, way too much Disney Channel again. It's
A whole new
yeah. Just thought everything was gonna work out.
Instead it just turned to porn.
Yeah. I love the Dave Chappelle skit when he's like, if internet was like a mall, and then he's just walking around, everyone's like soliciting big butts, touch your face. He's just like, whoa, get away from me! I'm just trying to buy some shoes. Yeah. You think there's a way to get back to that?
No.
Like even, you think there's a way to become constructive on social media?
No.
It's all fucking downhill from here. It's all over.
I think it's like a Pandora's box thing. You can't change what's already been opened.
Yeah. Not to go back to like the time without technology and all the advancements, the ways that we communicate, mediums now. But I'm saying, is there a way to
there won't be a shift until things collapse. Now, to what degree they collapse is up to whoever you are and what you think that collapse is going to be. But there's going to be something crazy is going to have to happen for people to wake up and go, well, this isn't constructive.
Yeah. Man, that sucks. I'm probably a little bit more optimistic than that.
You're optimistic, but I just don't see there being a change. I mean, you're having there's all these like institutions and new departments being opened up, not like government departments, but like departments within businesses that like sole purpose is like diversity, which makes no sense because like, why do you need to pay people to make sure that
you're diverse?
You're not racist. Like, just don't be racist.
Just don't be racist. And then
diversity.
The
problem is diversity has become a business.
Yeah. Sounds like
that's what I think some people's like, or I don't want to say some people, intelligent people's critique of like certain things, like we'll say like the gender issues, right? Like the people that are the majority, if the only people that are saying that like, well, gender is a spectrum and a construct and everything like that, are the people that are getting paid to research and say that. So like they're the majority of the people that are saying that this is a thing, their jobs exist based off of it being a thing.
Yeah. So it's like
it's not like this organically came from the biology field, and then people are saying like, oh, hey, let's open up another department and let's research that. Like so people said that it happened. In like the psychology field, and then that just became their thing, and then it's like, oh well, there hasn't.
It's like but just people following the incentives. Like, it was like, oh well, this is gonna be good for me, so I'm gonna establish this.
And I'm not talking about trans because that's very well documented that that's a thing.
Yeah. No, not at all. No, I'm just talking about like
this would be like a gender pronoun being "sir."
Yeah.
Like that didn't come from any real solid scientific or psychological data. Like that just kind of just like that just popped up.
Split up psychology. It's like psychological. Like, oh, that's not science. It's like
no, human research. No.
No, I don't think so. I don't see it.
I don't see it.
So,
But that would be the same thing with like racism. Activists didn't make money in the 1940s
right.
from being an activist. Like
Yeah, this is
they had to get
really...
they were doing their thing based off people either helping to fund them with just generosity. Like it wasn't like corporations were jumping in on this.
Yeah.
And it was just communities coming
Yeah.
together and being like, okay, well this guy's. That's why majority of them were pastors.
Yeah.
Because they had their church, they had a way to be able to fund themselves, and then they would go out and go to other areas and try and do outreach and set up things there, and then they would do it. Whereas now, I mean, you could have a nonprofit business where you're making $250,000 a year, and it's all in the name of fighting racism.
Yeah.
But if racism ended tomorrow, you then would not have a job.
Yeah, so it's like you're incentivized in order to keep this fight alive. It's like, yeah, I care, like, yeah, you care about.
And that's what's happening in California.
Not the results.
Every year, California's budget for homelessness goes up.
Yeah, isn't it? It's
it was about $400 million they spent to fight homeless. But the thing is, you have so many countless people making six figures.
Mm-hmm.
To end homelessness. So it's to the point where actually it's economically beneficial to everybody budget-wise and just their own personal gain-wise for there to be homelessness.
Yeah. Yeah. So like,
because if there's no more homelessness, well, you're now not making $185,000 a year.
Yeah. That's why it's like if I look at it like a business, like like you could make money just by like, oh, you create a business for yourself. And you have to bust your ass, and you make more money that way. You can invest, or you could like create a system, and then you could sell that system, and make money that way. But like when it comes to like those kind of like solving the world's problems, and the dynamic of when I look at business, it's like, well, we could create a system of incentives that is more geared towards actually solving problems versus what it is now. Like it's called compartmentalized into all these specific things, and people are postulating like they're doing the right thing, but really,
well, if it's too specific, it exists. You have a job because the issue exists.
Right.
So it's incentivizing for the problem to exist.
Yeah.
Whether it does exist or it doesn't exist, or you're then trying to make sure that it continues to exist.
Yeah.
Like you get employed and make money because an issue exists.
Yeah, like I know.
Which then makes, when you come out and talk about how much of a problem it is, there's going to be people that, wow, that was, there's going to be people that are going to question it because you're making money based off of this problem existing.
Yeah.
Like you didn't like quit your job and say, you know what, I'm really going to make sure, black people have like better education.
Yeah.
And then that's like your goal in life. And but if you're making $185,000 a year, or $200,000, or you're making book deals, and now your net worth is $5 million, and you're constantly talking about how bad America is for black people, it's like, but is it? Because you just bought a really big house.
Number 8, I believe.
Oh, that person. It's only 3. They only own 3 houses.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can't count.
The oppression is loud and clear.
Oh God, yeah. Like it's like if we were to talk about if people talked about racism or like the unfairness for black people in terms of generational wealth or the lack thereof, it's like
you just can't make money off of it, and that's what
exactly
we're seeing now.
Yeah, and it's like there's like arguments that there are definitely like disadvantaged or systems that are that were set up in place that like that have disenfranchised. Like, oh, now you're in this position, now you have to, like when I was little, my folks, they're both from overseas, but they told me it's like, yeah, you're born here, you're American, but you're also Dominican, and you're also Ghanaian.
You're keeping up the
culture,
culture and your traditions.
But at the same time, they definitely schooled me in all those things and what it was to be that. But they also said, because of what you look like, this is the way that certain people are going to treat you. And I'm like, oh, well, that's not fair. And they're like, yeah, that's what it is, though. Like, I'm not going to set you up for like, you know, you can watch Disney Channel all day, but I'm not going to set you up to pretend like, you know, everything's okay and like, you know, we live kumbaya. Like, this is what it is, and you're going to have to learn how to live with that. Or if you want to change it, you're going to have to learn how to fight for that. But you're not going to sit over here and complain about the current way of the world because this is what it is.
Well, I heard someone say once. I mean, they were kind of making fun of it, so this isn't like this is a
Serious
joke.
stuff.
This is supposed to be a joke. But it's like I've never met a real civil rights movement that had a T-shirt.
I get it.
And that's not necessarily just like a black issue, but that
No,
that could be said for
so
any
like
issue.
I remember one day I talked to this person who was in campaigning, and it was like it's a lucrative job, but it's a very seasonal job, and you bust your ass when you're actually working.
Mm-hmm.
And they're talking about like they were going for this specific candidate, and they're like, we did this, we knocked on doors, we sent out emails, you know, we created a flyer, we set up this website, we answered these questions, da, da, da. And I was like, wow, this person's like really passionate, really committed about these things, and it's like really interesting. And I asked them, do you think that it was like, you really believe in this person, this individual? And they're like, yeah, I stand by it for what they I could get behind what they stand for and the things that they've done, and I have really strong faith in what they're able to accomplish in the future. It's like, wow, that's incredible. And I was like, do you think that it would, like, too bad there's not more people like this? And it's like, yeah, I really wish that everybody was like this. Like there was more politicians like this. Da, da, da. And I was like, okay. And I was like, well, off of that, I was like, do you think that the government would run better if everyone believed, like all the elected officials believed and operated the way that your candidate does?
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of paused. They were like, well, it's good to have a system that keeps you honest. So no. And I was like, well, then you're full of shit. your whole fucking thing, you're full of shit. You know, like you probably feel good about what they're talking about. You like what they say, you know, but if in the back of your mind you feel like you're being less than 100% honest about some of these issues,
well, I mean, I look at Warren is a classic example.
Yeah.
Eli Warren.
Yeah.
Like her history is so unbelievably scattered, but yet you'll still meet people who are like, oh, like I really liked her, and it's like, but she clearly changes who she is and how she feels. Blowing. Yeah. She was a status quo. Well, she used to be a Republican, and then she became a Democrat, and then she was like a status quo, like corporate Democrat.
Yeah.
And then in the last primary, she was this avowed like socialist programs person. I'm like, you were against that your whole life.
Yeah, you're a piece of shit, man. You're like,
it wasn't like she talked about it like, I have so learned my lesson.
Yeah, like,
it was just like, this is clearly the way we need to go. It's like, but it clearly wasn't.
Matter of fact, this is like, it was like, you know, douchebag, like, well, obviously, this guy is.
Racism and cultural appropriation is terrible as long as you're the one not doing it.
Yeah. It's not like,
and
it would be so phenomenal if it was like a.
If she was a Republican, it would make sense to me.
Yeah. It's like, but you have those
this
values
Republican who complained about, or who not complained, but pretended to be a Native American, based off of something someone said.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't any real like
genealogy or.
Well, no. It'd be one thing if like she grew up in in an environment where it's like, oh, we think we're this, and this is how we're going to raise you.
Right.
She wasn't raised that. She was just told, like, oh, you have this. It'd be like somebody telling, oh, you're 5% black. It's like, oh, that's neat.
Yeah.
I wouldn't then go claiming.
What's up, my niggas? Yeah.
I wouldn't claim that I'm black, but if my family was like actually like trying to engage in that like culture, then it'd be like, oh, okay, I can identify as that because that's how I was raised. Like I'm around black people. I was raised to be like kind of black, and like it would. it might be weird.
Yeah,
Won't make sense, but like
Yeah,
I at least
like
have something to fall back on. It's like, oh no, but I actually like.
Like they have like there's Japanese people who move to the Caribbean. Like there's Japanese Jamaicans, and like they look very Asian.
Japanese,
but yeah, it's very Japanese. Like being racist.
But they're a part of. But they're a part of the culture.
Yeah, so like I would talk like I have this friend who like if he talks like he sounds very patois and broken English. Like he sounds Jamaican. Like you talk to him on the phone, you would have an image in your mind about what this guy looks like. You see him in real life, and you're just like, yo, there's a real cognitive dissonance going on. You're like, what the fuck is happening?
You need to explain. But yeah, so if she was a Republican, I would get it because Republicans don't have that type of history of like caring about those type of issues to like a strong degree.
Yeah.
But liberals have shown that they care about like taking from other cultures and cultural appropriation and just general racism in general.
Yeah.
So for you to then support somebody who, whether it was malicious or not, assumed another nationality.
Yeah.
That is the most oppressed group in the history of this country, and then get economic and educational gains off of that.
Yeah.
I feel like that's strong enough to be like, I don't think I can support this person.
I'm not a fan. At the very least, you know.
Especially when this comes out like in her 50s.
You poo-poo face.
Like it wasn't like this came out 30 years ago. It's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. Like she came out with like a cookbook. She had a recipe in a Native American cookbook within the last like 10 years. So this is something that she's been leaning into her whole entire life.
Yeah. That's
the greatest was when to prove everybody wrong because Trump like said something like, "Oh, I'll give you $1 million if you've got it" or something.
Yeah.
She took the test and she was like 1/10,000th of a percent.
Oh God.
And then Joe Rogan said, "You know what's funny? I'm like 100 times." Oh no, because he's 1% black.
Yeah.
So he's like, think about this. I'm 10,000 times more black than she is Native American.
Oh shit. Yeah. that puts stuff into perspective. You know? It almost sounds like a fake number, but it's just shit.
Just to hear that I'm 10,000 times more black than you are Native American. And he's just some Irish Italian.
Yeah, that's rough.
He doesn't have any black in him at all.
That's oh boy. Yeah, it's a funny world, man. But yeah, like if we if there was like let's say like there's incentive to and not so much like, let's say there wasn't a lot of money into it. Like there wasn't like you couldn't get rich off of fighting for these things, and there was just you made enough to make ends meet, and then if you were able to accomplish any kind of milestone towards this area would be a sense of accomplishment and self-worth and good for society in and of itself. I think it's important to structure those kind of things. Anything in that social rights field in that way. So then it's 100% not someone just trying to cash out because of the, division or like how messed up the things are for a certain group of people. But it's more so like, oh no, like these are people just like, this is just ends meet. Like this is just basic, minimum wage, not minimum wage, but like just livable wage, and they're just in it for, they could make a lot more with their skill set. They could make a lot more money doing something else, but they're choosing to take that pay cut in order to help out. Like I remember reading, there was this one guy on Facebook, and I don't remember his name, but he took photos of people and then he would ask them about their story or something like that, their life story.
You talk about like the soft white underbelly?
No, that's amazing. But this was a lot less dicey. This guy, he would just take pictures like people in the park.
Oh,
And there would be like it would be like a old couple, and they'd be like and then like could write a little synopsis of what they said, and it's like, oh, married for 50 years, still in love, enjoying time in the sun or something like that. And so he would write like nice feel good stuff like that, and then he ended up going to this one school in somewhere in New York, in a troubled neighborhood, and he took a picture of his principal, and the principal was talking about how like at his school like he has all these teachers, and he's like they could it's like, no, these guys can with their skill set, with their ability to teach kids, they could get a job in a lot better districts and make a lot more money. But they and some of them do move on, and I'm happy for them. But the ones who do stay, he's like, I know that they're in it for the fight. They're in it for the right reasons, and I appreciate their sacrifice. Because they're really trying to help people in a disadvantaged. This is a hard place to be. Like one of those places that even the government gives money to. Like if if you go to college and you work in one of these bad schools districts, they'll give you X amount for your student loans as a result. So it's like it's one of those schools, and it's like there's people like that. There's a lot of people out there who are just in it for the fight and really trying to make things better. But there's definitely and not in that environment, but it's like if you're like a private tutor, and for example, not that this is what it is, but if there's like a way to monetize off of people in bad environments not being educated, and you're like postulating like, oh, you're the one and only solution, and you're really helping them out, and then you go out and you buy 8 houses. It's like, you're contradicting yourself, man. You're talking about all about like getting upset about people and
that same person probably thinks capitalism is evil.
Yeah.
Meanwhile.
Yeah. Well, at least they'll say that. Though. It's like,
sorry, I don't mean think. Yeah, they'll say that, that capitalism is bad. But
meanwhile, they go ahead and get a tax write-off on there.
Jumping right into what capitalism is.
Yeah, it's like you're helping people in disenfranchised situations, but then you're gonna like,
which
really
to me diminishes the like. Well, how bad is it?
Yeah, and it's like
because I'm used to to like African American history where it's like, oh no, it's terrible.
Yeah,
it usually doesn't end with people buying $1.2 million houses. That's usually the black experience.
Yeah.
So if the black experience ends with you being a multimillionaire,
it's hard for me to see your oppression.
Yeah. More so the degree of.
Yeah.
Obviously, depending on your group, you're going to have different issues that are more so or less than others. But if you're saying it's terrible,
yeah, like
how
do you define terrible?
How do you define terrible? You living in a mansion. Yeah.
And
not like a mansion like in Wyoming. Like you're getting like
prime.
You're getting maybe not prime, but like you're getting them in very nice areas.
Yeah.
Like you're getting a house in Orlando or a house in LA or a house in Miami. Like you're not you didn't buy a mansion in Arkansas.
200 acres for $80,000. Nice.
I'm gonna go do something.
Okay. Stretch these legs.
Feel a little loose.
Is
this recording?
I've seen butthole. I'm just gonna cut it out.
You can leave it in if you want.
Epstein's butthole?
Yeah. I just don't worry. I just dropped off cornball or what is his name?
Who?
The Biden story. Corn puff? Cornball?
Oh, what's the Biden story?
Where he's at the pool. Corn puff. Isn't it corn puff? The black guy that was causing trouble at the pool, and then they had to kick him out.
I don't know.
Then he talked about black kids rubbing his legs.
Oh shit!
In the pool because his white hair Or he's a white person and his hair's different in the water, and he said black kids would like rub it.
Oh,
I think it was cornball.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then he said, and I love cockroaches, and I love black kids rubbing on my leg.
Oh my god. So fuck you. Oh,
and I can't find the reference for the cockroaches.
just...
But he said, I love cockroaches, and I love black kids rubbing on my leg.
Oh. 94 crime bill.
84.
Was it 84? No, it was
84.
94. 1994. I could be wrong.
It was the 84 war on drugs.
Oh, okay.
That was the bill. But then he supported the Clinton crime bill, which might have been 94.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the Clinton crime bill. The war on drugs, I'm not so.
84 crack bill.
Oh, okay.
But not the crack bill, but it's
the one that
dubbed
disproportionately hammered down on crack use, and
I think it was 500 times the sentence for. Yeah. Oh no, not 500 times the sentence. It was 500 times the amount, but same sentence for cocaine to crack.
Versus crack, yeah, it's an interesting ratio.
It wasn't it? It was like 1 pound, but like it's equivalent of like 500 pounds or 50 pounds.
I don't know what the ratio is, but
I think it was
know
50.
It was like a gross.
I think it was 1 to 50.
Yeah.
I think or maybe it was 500. It was absurd.
Yeah.
I remember watching a documentary on it. I was like, wait a minute. It's the same thing. And then I'm like, but it's like cheaper to make, so you're gonna have more of it.
Yeah, it's like exactly. If you're gonna do drugs, do it.
I remember there was a guy that was released like a year ago. He did 25 years, and he had been arrested for for drug trafficking. So he did a quarter of a century for selling drugs.
God damn. That's
a non-violent crime.
You know what's crazy about that? I think if you get charged with second-degree murder or something like that, I think it's a fraction of that. I don't think it's anywhere close to 25.
You can get out on parole.
Yeah.
In 5 years or something like that.
Jeez. Quarter of a century gone. Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, I mean, the systems of going from crack cocaine and Biden's absurd.
He's just interesting with his stories.
Yeah. Tell me another one, Sleepy Joe. But yeah, I think if we're able to stop bullshitting each other and ourselves about what we really want, or just take away the incentives to bullshit. It's I know, politicians are set up, they're set to lie. It's not, they don't have any kind of profit, and I can't imagine any kind of profit motive that you can give to politicians to be a lot more honest. That's not going to sacrifice their position and power. That's not sensible. But
you could take away their pensions.
Yeah. But if they're caught lying, but they're gonna just come up with a couple ways about how they didn't intentionally lie. It's well, based on the information I had at the time, I was all right, man, you just stroke that cock, whatever. But but it's just especially when it comes to these social issues, social rights issues, there's a way we could limit the amount that people make off of fighting for these things, and that way it's all right, now we know that the people who are really fighting for these things are really in.
But you can't limit it.
Yeah, that would be a little Big Brother-ish, wouldn't it? Well, shit. Well, we could call out the people who happen to make a little bit more than a decent wage off of it, and that way it's kind of like a shame game at that point.
I mean, we try to, but
yeah, then they try to.
They already have their group that's following them.
Yeah, and that's what the hard part is and I think it's people make the assumption because we're so tribal. It's like, oh, you're attacking that person, then that means that you're attacking everything that they've done and represent. It's like, no, I don't deny. Like they say that they've done these things. I see this stuff, and this is good. So I'm not attacking them for that, and I'm not trying to take away from that. Like the Huxtables is still like a very iconic family in America. Regardless of what he did as an individual person, it's like
You got that
you
mixed
can't
up.
take away. Did I? The Huxtables, the Bill Cosby.
Oh no, never mind. You got that right.
Okay, I know.
Right?
Yeah, I thought it was the Huxtables. Yeah.
Who's Family Matters?
Family Matters is I don't know. To be honest, I didn't watch Family Matters like that.
Or isn't Heath Huxtable?
Yeah, I don't know. Go ahead and.
I'm calling out your blackness.
I'm only 50%. That's my defense. But
I think it's Carl Huxtable, right?
I don't even know. You just rock my world. No. But we could, but yeah, just huh?
Your world's been shattered.
Yeah. Well, been destroyed.
Carl Winslow. You got it. It's Huxtable.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Mr. Winslow. Yeah, he's the one who's a police officer. Yeah.
Who's also the cop in Die Hard.
Yeah. Oh shit. It's part of a bigger story.
It's all connected.
Yeah. The theme song is coming back to me now. Like, yeah. Okay.
Good times. Okay. Just mix them all up.
Yeah, just a big old collab. Static Shock. Oh man.
Oh, Cliff Huxtable. Right?
I didn't remember his first name. I just remembered, Mr. Huxtable. I was little when I was watching it, so all older people were Mr. or Uncle. But yeah, when we have instead of like taking away from what that person has done, it's just no, it's like everyone's people are nuanced. It's not like it was made out of pure light or spawns of Satan. It's just you don't believe in what I say? Like, hey, you did this. That was wrong. Like, you do that to a friend, like your brother or something. Like, yo, man, like, you shouldn't have done that. Was fucked up. Like, don't do that. Or like, just calling them out when you think they're in the wrong, and they might feel some kind of way about it. But at the end of the day, it's like it's coming from a place of love. And I know that not everybody's coming from a place of love. Some people are just like, just want to, wrench out whatever, deformity they can in order to reverse, like whatever the opposite of peacocking would be, or like decock, decock the person. I'm patenting that term. Whatever they can do to decock a person. But like but even from when you're having a bad day, or when someone's coming at you with a bad attitude, and you just just assume that like, oh yeah, whatever, doesn't matter what they're coming at you for, or they're trying to make you do extra work for whatever reason. Just look at it like it's all opportunities. If you just look at it like, oh man, now I'm gonna have experience doing this, or oh man, like this is a great chance for me to turn their life around. It's like, oh well, how come this and that, and I'm angry about this, and you're just like, oh, sorry to hear that, man. Da-da-da. This is what it. Yeah, it's hard to not talk about a specific thing. Trying to see as generic as possible, not give away anything.
I
know. but like, you know what I mean? Like, you just instead of like coming from places like, no matter what kind of negative energy somebody comes at you with, just being able to turn it around and being like, oh, I'm gonna stay positive regardless. Like, you might I'm gonna feel the impact when you try to attack me with that negativity, but it's not gonna. I'm not gonna let it. I'll acknowledge that it's there. And oof, like that hurt, but I'm not gonna let it dictate like how I'm gonna operate from that moment forward. Like I'm not gonna walk around like just all pissed off just because like you decided to be an asshole for whatever reason. Maybe legitimate. You're dealing with something real, or you're just dedicated to having a bad day. Whatever the fuck. But but like when it comes to like we should call people out, but it's like, hey, like I guess it's like the honey and the hatchet thing. I guess people did it more like that. Oh, this person did this instead of like condescendingly, decocking somebody. Oh, well, you say you're about this, but actually, haha, gotcha, bitch. It's like no, it's like well, you do this and you've done this. It's like that's good, and I like that you've all the work that you've done and how far we've gone from here to there, and the kind of attention that you brought to the table about this issue. Um, Fantastic. I love it. Wish you keep on doing it, and you've inspired a lot of other people, like this person, that person, to do these things. Mm-hmm. Now, my gripe with you, or where I feel like you could improve upon, or it's hard for people to sympathize with you because after purchasing your third house, it's hard to. It's hard not to see how you've personally benefited financially from this. Not to say that you don't deserve to be compensated for this, or you're not budgeting correctly, or you.
There's nothing wrong with it. It's. I think it's what you're trying to say. It's more so what the degree of what they're talking about and how bad something is.
Yeah.
Of the results of how their life is turning out is.
Yeah.
Like the exact opposite.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like
the point of like the civil rights movement in like the 30s, 40s, 50s, and the growth of it. Mm-hmm. It was because you couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
It was so goddamn hard to do anything.
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, you had the right to vote, but then you would show up to vote, and they would like question, like, oh, do you know who the last 7 governors of the state have been? You're just like.
No, I just got the right to vote.
Yeah.
I also just learned how to read.
Yeah. You get 6 out of 7. They're like, you don't know shit. I'm not going to let you vote. You stupid ass nit. Like, well, okay. So, yeah, it's just people stop being so tribal. Or, like, I guess the way that it comes off is more important than what you're actually saying. So it's like if we find better ways to talk about it like that, just call people out, then it's like then they'll be more incentivized.
But the problem is we don't talk about the human condition.
Yeah.
We're all groups.
Right, and being prejudiced has been an evolutionary trait.
We only care about our group.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like people look at like I remember can't. Well, I'll say it like this. I remember I was having a conversation with a person, and they were saying, have you ever been a part of any organization that discriminates against anybody? And I'm like, no. And they're like, yeah, you have. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like, oh, you were in a fraternity. And I was like, yeah, but that doesn't. It's like, well, do you allow women to enter? And they're like, no. It's like, are you discriminating against this is part of an organization that discriminates against women? And I was like, no, but he's like, hey, I'm gonna stop you there. It's like it's not about like discrimination has a bad connotation, but it's not real. It's just like it's just a matter of fact. You're part of a group that is exclusive to this certain kind of people. Uh-huh. It's not it's just a thing. It's not a bad thing or a good thing. It's just a thing. And it's like the same way. It's like when you're newborns, they have a prejudice against anybody who's not mom. They're just like, oh, or not dad. It's like, oh, they don't identify with like they don't know who this stranger is, and then sometimes they get creeped out. And every baby's different, but it's like they have an idea of where they're supposed to be, and it's like, oh, this is the one that gives me milk. This is the one that I've seen for the last.
That's the one that has the baby feeders.
Yeah. This is the one that's been nice to me for the last 3 weeks. This other random person, like I have no idea who this is. Like, some people are more accepting than others, even babies. And then it's like, fast forward to like you're 5 or 6. It's like someone's like, oh man, like this thing happened to this random lady down the street. You're like, oh wow, like that sucks, and I feel terrible about that. And is she okay? But if it was like something terrible happened to your mother, you would be fucking devastated.
Yeah.
So it's like, and that's prejudice, and it's just an evolutionary thing. It's like and the microcosm of like personal relationships with your mom and dad, but then it translates to bigger things. So like, oh, people who like we share this culture, we do these things, and we have these attributes, and they look this way versus that way. And like back in the day, before fire, like let's talk about like Stone Age, like when we just like all different kinds of hominins like walking around the earth, like interacting with each other. It's like, oh, that group looks a little different than this group. Like, can I trust them? Are we gonna go to war? Are we gonna do this? Like, who knows what's gonna happen? So it's like we have prejudices, and that's something that we've. Huh? Oh shit!
Did you hear that?
No. I felt it when you hit your ankle. I was like, oh shit. But it's like it's something. It's a prejudice. The prejudice is something it's an evolutionary trait that we've developed from for survival's sake. It's like maybe like
well, no, we just care about. I don't want to say no. I hate it when I do that. I have like this weird tendency,
it's okay.
but no,
because I don't take it that way.
I hate it. I have a weird tendency to be like no, but I'm actually like agreeing with you. It's just like this weird thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we're just groups.
Yeah.
We care about the group.
Yeah. And like
if we work at the same job, well, we have something in common, and we now we're relying on each other on this like semi day-to-day basis. So we are now a group.
Yeah. Like okay.
So if men get attacked, like if somebody starts talking a lot about men and how men behave, me and you are now a group.
Yeah.
Because I'm not. It doesn't matter if we're American or what our race is or what our ethnic background is. We're now men.
Yeah.
So our group's being attacked. So now we are now together. If there's like 8 bomb explosions in America, we're now American.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter that you're black or I'm white or old or young or this person is a Mexican. Like it's like, wait a minute, we're under attack. We now have to come together because this is our group.
Yeah. 100%.
And that's what people don't like to. People don't like to admit that we're animals. Like
right.
We're groups.
Yeah.
You know why white people really don't care about black people? Because they don't live around them.
They
don't know them. They don't live around them. They have no connection.
If you work with them and you're in the neighborhood and you're
why
just
would a group of 50 white people or 50 white homes with like multiple people living in those homes, they don't have any connection to black people
outside of the TV,
other than like you walk by somebody going to CVS. Why would they at all care about what happens in black people?
Yeah, they
have no reason to care.
Yeah, versus like now that they've lived next to somebody or work with somebody who happens to be black. And
3 of my 5 neighbors are black, and like 8 of my coworkers are black. Guess what? I'm probably going to have a more nuanced opinion on black issues.
Right now,
because I know so many black people.
Yeah, it's like no, they're not all bad. And then it's like, you know what? They're not like no. I know so and so. He's black and he's a really good guy. No, I've met
we agree on a lot together.
Yeah, I met his friends. I met his family. Really good people. There's the best example of that I can think of is that one musician, and I'm terrible with names, who he met with the KKK leader.
The guy who's like converted like 200 plus Klan members.
Yeah, but like hearing him talk about the journey that the guy, he was just like look at him as
most
like
of them have never had a real conversation with a black person ever.
Right, and they have ideas in their head, and it's like because of looking at things from a distance, and it's like no, like this is my group, this is how I identify, and you stay over there, you're less than me, and I'm over here, and I'm superior. Just matter of fact, boom. And then he just dedicated to having conversations with this guy. And he goes on this journey about we disagree and we agree on things, but, he's a good guy. And I met his wife and she's really nice to me. And their kids are beautiful. And now I'm starting to see them as people. And then and then he would, I think some reporter was asking him a question, and it was kind of like one of those questions that's trying to like entrap, like an entrapment type of question. It's like, oh, are you still racist or something like that? It's something to the effect of it's like you can say no, but then at that point it's like, oh, you have to admit that. Oh, and I forgot what the question was, but it's something to that effect where it's like no matter how you answer this, it's gonna be they're gonna draw a negative viewpoint
Because
out of
now
that.
society, you're not allowed to change,
Yeah, and
which
he
makes no sense. How do you end racism by
if
not
nobody.
allowing anyone to change?
Oh, genocide. But he went off on this reporter. He was just like, oh well, I know this guy and he's black and even though he's a black man, I identify more like he treats me like a person and he's more of a person than any of you white niggers out here. And it was like and it's just like, wait, a white nigger? What is he talking about? And it's like because like he's grown up to understand and think that niggers are less than you're beneath me, and then
So he just
he's understood. Yeah, he understands this guy to be his friend and someone he's grown up with, and his ideas are evolving. So white niggers is a thing.
I was listening to a podcast and they were saying like, what's a way for white people to be able to say the N word? And one of the guys,
Charlie Sheen.
one of the
Sorry.
one of the guys who's a stand-up comedian just said, "What about black cracker?" And then the black guy was like, I'm gonna be honest, it sounds worse.
Oh my god, that's funny. I like that term. Oh, yeah. But yeah. Like if you're able to, forgot fucking black cracker just threw me off again.
Well, if it makes you feel better, I just got a notification from one of my friends.
Mm.
Apparently, the BBC has proposed a question on their Twitter account about what's the best way to inform teenagers about pornography, and should there be age-appropriate pornography?
What? Okay, no. Nope, not doing that. Okay, first of all, teenage. Okay, no. No. Mm-mm. I'm not getting dragged into this. Teenagers know about pornography. First of all, age appropriate.
I don't know what you
What
need to educate them on about.
Yeah, and then age appropriate pornography. Like, are we gonna go back to talking about pedophiles again? Like, what the fuck are we talking about? Age appropriate? Like, I don't. Oh fuck. Okay, I'm done. Yeah. Nope, not talking about that. Yeah. Racism, standing up for this thing, people being transformative. Oh yeah, people are nuanced. So since people are nuanced, it's just
Super.
like what kind of porn is appropriate for teenagers? I think we could solve our differences. um, but yeah, like we just cut through the bullshit of lying or postulating to be bigger than or less than or like peacocking to showcase we're bigger than everybody else, or virtue signaling or decocking, someone who's peacocking like everything that they've done is terrible. It's I think we were able to say it in the right way. That's why I'm optimistic. I think that there's a way to create a system of incentives that are geared towards actually geared towards helping us as a society focus more on the issues and communicating with people with different ideas than where we're at now. And I think a big key to that is
being able to be truthful with ourselves, and it's like, okay, well, this is the prejudice that I have, you know, and that's a normal thing, it's an acceptable thing, and then what's wrong or right about it, and then from there it's like you could be exposed to different people, and that might challenge your prejudice, and then it's like, oh, and then like we start to evolve, and or some people that just choose to not, like, oh well, I like my prejudices the way that they are, I don't want to change. It's like, okay, that's 100% okay. Not everybody has to be, and has to have exponential growth and diversity. Everyone runs their roles, and it's like back in the day when I think it was Ali, Muhammad Ali, who was who was on that talk show, and people were talking about or he was asked about interracial marriages, and he's like, well, do the Blue Jays hang out with the Blue Jays, and like some people still think that way, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that. There's something wrong with being like, I'm gonna kill all these Blue Jays because fuck black crackers. You know what I mean?
Blue Jays.
Like the Muhammad Ali. Like, I'll try to find it, but he's like, oh well, like the redbirds hang out with the hummingbirds, or with the hummingbirds, the Blue Jays with the Blue Jays. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with people who have the prejudice, and they want to stay with the prejudice. And the same, bless you. The same way, I don't think there's anything wrong with people who are just like, oh well, I want to walk across the different racial lines and make a family, because I identify other things as important in this dynamic than this thing. Everybody has their own different opinions, and there's like so many different people out here. Like, you're gonna have a little bit of variability, and instead of demonizing someone for being different or wanting to not interact with other people who are different, we could just accept them for who they are, and if you want to really reward what you interpret as good behavior, or like moving the needle forward in terms of progress, it's like, well, then just start talking about it, and peacocking the people who are engaged in interracial relationships, or reverse if that's what you're really into. But you don't have to. You could do that without decocking, people who disagree with what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody has their space. Like, I love when I see black couples together. Like, when I see a black woman, black man together, like, I'm just like, wow, that's beautiful. That's a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me like, oh, like, it swells me up with pride. Like, wow, they have black family and do this and da 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 da. But I have plenty of friends in interracial marriages or relationships, and I'm just like, oh yeah, like, I like that too. Like, it gives me a different level of happiness. I'm just happy that that
one
person found
doesn't
somebody.
diminish the other.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you could have two good things. You could like cake and chicken at the same
Cheesecake.
time. Cheesecake. Yeah, it doesn't.
Cheesecake's not traditional cake, but it's still good.
Yeah, there you go. It doesn't have to be all. You don't have to put everything in a fucking ranking system. And it's like, god damn, man, you
don't sneeze and shit.
Just all the fluids and air pockets are coming out.
At least I'm closed up.
Are you sure? I thought you wanted to leave that gaping asshole.
So it air out.
Ain't no beat.
Man.
But like, if we're able to have that kind of society, we're like open about that and able to accept people for where they are and what they want to be, then we could start being honest with each other and with ourselves, and it's like, all right, like, now we could have a little bit of progress from here. They're like, oh yeah, I'll be honest about what I want, what I don't want, what I like, what I don't like, what I want to be around, what I don't want to be around, and then we could move forward from there. We could come together to the table and build off of that. The same way, like, in relationships, people come to the table and like, oh, I want this, I want that, and they come together and they start building stuff up. So, and it's hard to like really communicate that level, those like the thoughts that are really in your head to another person, other than like our imperfect method of conversing.
I think that's why like art and music is so popular, where it's like it's a different way to express the same level of emotion, or just on in a different medium, and that people can accept. It's like, oh man, that's awesome. But or different people can vibe with it, or it means different things to different people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like people talk about back in the day where like we have this assumption about the trajectory of human society, how now we're more advanced than we've ever been versus back then when we just did cave paintings. But there's an argument now about and like we talk about like society being they have to have all these attributes, and one of them is like a written language. But then before the written language, there was like there was like pictures, like they utilized pictures to signify different things. And there's an argument to be made that, well, these pictures can mean can you can transmit more in a picture than you can in a bunch of words. So maybe they were better at communicating back in the day because they communicated in a different way than now. And maybe, who knows? But I think words and action is the best measure for that, though.
Communication was probably more effective.
Yeah.
They were trying to not die.
Yeah.
It's more straightforward and to the point.
We're really at a point of privilege compared to them, you know? Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, like, microcosm of relationships is like, you know, like, what were we talking about last time? We were talking about relationships and like, oh, like people building stuff together. It's like, you know.
At what point in the relationship do you ask for a rim job?
First date.
Do you rim, ma'am?
Do you rim? Do you
what?
Do you suck balls? Just standard first date questions.
Are you a fan of the gooch?
Do you believe in 68? What's that? 69. I'll just owe you one later. Yeah, people come together just like how to like building a family. Oh, that's what we were talking about last time. People being happy without children. It's like there's definitely people who are happy without children, but there's a lot more postulating about people who've been rejected relationship wise, who are pretending that they're happy without having somebody, a significant other, or having children. And it's like that.
Are you talking about a general, or are you going after a specific gender?
Yeah, it's specific gender. I'm talking about women in particular. Yeah, but because I think men are a little bit more honest when it comes to that. Probably lie about other things for sure. Sure, we will find something to counteract this decock me for. But just because we were talking about women pretending to be okay with that kind of lifestyle, when some, and I'm sure many are, but there's definitely a fair amount of peacocking that goes around that's less than truthful, you know. So the truth, just to kind of summarize my anal bead conclusion, you know, that whole conversation from last time. I'm trying to loop it back into this one where it's just like it's not so much of a you don't have a child, you think you're happy, bullshit. Like that's not what we're saying. Like what we're saying is,
I'm not sure what you're saying.
Like it's like women. It's not that women aren't gonna be happy if they don't have kids. You know, like because that's kind of we're dancing around that. Like that's not what we're saying, but I think that's kind of how it came across.
Oh really? I don't know.
I don't know, but I'm afraid of it being simplified or decocted to that level. But what it really is,
you're saying decocked a lot.
I really like that term. Peacock, decock, yeah. But it's not meant to be sexual. Just
I mean, if I would say that the real. not meant to be sexual. But then
Yeah, peace. Oh,
double
shit.
penetration.
Oh, wait. Yeah, that's not what I meant.
Did you not pick up on that?
Oh.
You just thought it sounded funny?
Yeah. Oh.
Apparently, you needed to look at more.
I'm gonna come up with that.
More. What was the type of porn that they were saying? Age appropriate porn.
Age appropriate porn. Yeah. But it's just like the real problem is like people being less than truthful, less than honest about.
I don't even
what they
think
want.
it's really that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, people are going to lie about all certain aspects of their life.
Mm-hmm.
If we're talking about are we talking about what is concerning?
Yeah. Oh, what was concerning to me was just like, I guess I have a really strong thing about people just being honest with themselves and just.
Well, people aren't going to be honest.
Yeah.
Because people are very complex.
Yeah. Well, I have a hope. You know, I'm optimistic about people being more truthful than they are now.
Well, I think of what the
want.
issue is that there's however much of an issue it is up to someone else to kind of figure that out. But there's at least a growing sentiment that women, in order for women to be happy, they don't need to be in a relationship or don't need to have a man. Obviously, this is heterosexual women. So that is then putting women in a position that if they are getting older and they either wanted to or secretly want to be in a relationship, they have to then project out that they are happy because that's the sentiment that's being pushed is that you don't need to settle for somebody. You don't need to be settled down if you're a woman and you're single and you don't have any kids and you're not married, you're not dating anybody. There's nothing wrong with that. And you're still as great as any other woman. So then that's putting women that are in a position where they're maybe not really happy. They have to tell people that they're happy because then if they don't, they're then proving that mindset wrong.
Right. That's
obviously a specific type of woman.
Yeah. That's what like that pretentiousness is a problem.
It's going to be women that are going to be leaning more towards the not necessarily a feminist, but like a more feminist mindset.
Yeah, and I think that you could be feminist and want children. I think it's dangerous to for people to. That's why I want people to be more honest or. I think there's
but that's a cultural shift
with themselves. Yeah, but it doesn't.
It's a greater issue than the individual not being honest with themselves.
Is it? Because I feel like.
Well, look. I mean, there's black people that grow up okay.
Yeah.
In like an okay environment, like they might have their mom and dad, maybe one or both are college educated.
Yeah.
They grow up middle class.
Yeah.
Okay neighborhood.
Okay.
They maybe deal with some type of racial discrimination.
Yeah.
But then, they graduate from college and then they project out this horrific, state of what black Americans are, but yet they actually don't know what that black experience is.
Yeah.
Right? They don't know what it's like to actually live in a community that
Cabrini Green.
Regardless of who's to blame, everything. There's still communities that are the same communities in the same areas that date back to when they were freed slaves. Like, if you don't grow up in that environment, like, because there are a lot of people who leave that environment and they're like, oh no, like black people ain't shit. Like, like they still love black people, but they're like, no, like
I'm not gonna.
We're like. They have this more kind of nuanced opinion where they're like, I got out of this terrible environment.
Yeah, I know what it's like.
And I can't put every issue that I have on the government or white people because I couldn't walk down the street and feel safe because of black people.
That's what I heard one comedian say. He's like, everyone who's ever robbed me looks like me.
It's probably Chris Rock. I think he said that.
It's like, like living in DC and you got that bullet hole, that's just, they didn't they don't even bother replacing the window or like getting your car stolen from in front of the apartment. It's like, well, yeah, I feel some kind of way. I'll move to West Virginia.
But that would be like a point, right?
Yeah, I follow. Well,
because they grew up in an okay environment, maybe face some type of discrimination. Then they go to
right.
college, and then they learn this, they learn that. They feel a very passionate way about wanting to improve Black people lives and experiences,
and I hate that. But
and they have a more radical viewpoint. Whereas, like, you'll talk to a number of Black people who actually grew up like real bad.
Yeah.
And they never did anything bad in their life really. Their mindset is a lot more middle of the road.
Right, and which is it's like and what I'm saying is like I there's nothing wrong with that, and like I wish people were more honest about that. And that's the only thing I could really think of to combat the social groupthink mentality, the change of like trying to identify with this like victimhood or like, oh, I could do this on my own type of thing. Like there's no need to postulate when you don't need to. Like it's just accept who you are, be truthful about who you are, and then just move forward from there. Like it's okay that you haven't gone through any adversity or I can't say any adversity, but it's okay that you
their experiences they believe is what it is, and then like they're not lying in a way.
Okay, I'm thinking about people who are lying. That's what I'm concerned. Focus on that.
I think most people aren't lying.
Okay.
Because if you're viewed to see a mindset the way it is, that makes no sense. If your mindset has been formed to view things in a certain way, you're going to view them in that way.
Right, and I think
so. If you're talking about like relationships and like people who are getting older and don't have any real relationship, they still might have been put in this mindset where like, well, I don't need one.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Now, every now and then they might get a little bit sad because they wish they did, but then at the same time they're reverting back to what
I follow what you're saying.
Their ideology that they agree with, which put them in the situation that they're in.
Yeah, I think I'm hyper focused on the lying part. I'm hyper focused on the people who are like, oh well, I don't know how to accept that I've been rejected for this long and nobody wants to be with me, so I'm gonna take on this way of thinking.
Well, how else do you want them to do it?
I think there's other ways. Okay, so it's like
they're fucked.
Yeah, well, like
the whole point.
I know, but I think there's better ways to deal with rejection.
If you're a 45-year-old woman, single, never married, no kids, like you're kind of like it's not happening.
Yeah. Like
I mean, it could happen in a way, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not happening.
But like,
so what do you? How do you want them to react?
To accept your reality, like instead of
but do you know
focusing
how miserable that is?
No, but it doesn't have to be. Like it doesn't. Like you could just be like, oh well, this is what it is. Like the same way when I was a kid and like my parents were trying to explain to me what it is to be black in America, and I'm like, wait, why do people act like this? I don't get it. And they're just like, it is what it is. And like, but instead of being like, woe is me or feeling terrible about myself, I took it as like, okay, well that's baseline. Now I could build on top of this. I could do everything on top. So like once you accepted like this is, and granted like, maybe one day I'll go to sleep, wake up, and then tomorrow racism is gone. Maybe it could happen, but the chances chances are the static shock. It's gonna be a new theme song.
We're happy.
We're brothers. We're happy.
Right, we're brothers.
Bill Cosby.
We're happy and we're single and we're colored. Give me a high five.
Yeah. Oh, love Wayne Brothers. But I think
we're happy and we're single and we're colored.
Or singing and we're colored. Yeah.
No, Was it singing or single?
Singing.
Singing,
Yeah.
we're happy, and we're singing.
They're all
and
jolly and like walking down the steps. Me and my brother did that like on a daily basis. But yeah, I try to find out where I was my train of thought, but like I think I'm hyper focused on the people lying part, and I think that yeah, oh, that's where I was, like accepting your reality. Like if you just accept like, oh, I'm at this age, like this is where I'm at, this is the reality of the situation, like okay, this sucks, and then like after you accept it, then it's like, okay, well, let me live for myself, not, oh, I don't need anybody, just okay, well, let me do other things that make me happy. Because instead of being like, I don't think it's healthy to be hyper focused, try to cope with it, cope with with what you with your situation with the lie. Like I don't think it's okay to be like 35 years old and thinking like, oh man, I'm about to get into boxing. Like I'm about to, like not in a like not in a like like fitness kind of way, but like in a professional fighting kind of.
You're gonna do amateur bouts.
Yeah, it's like okay, but like I don't think that's healthy, and I also don't think it's healthy to be like, oh well, I don't need boxing. I don't need to ever run ever. I'm gonna eat cheeseburgers for the rest of my life, and I'll be just fine. And so it's like I think both extremes are bad. I think it's bad to conflate. Like, okay, I think it's important to acknowledge, like, man, I wanted to be a boxer, and I missed that opportunity because I wasn't disciplined enough to do what I was supposed to do, what I should have done, what I'm doing now earlier, and like now I've missed that chance. It's like, okay, so moving forward, like maybe I could have what it takes to be close to it. Maybe I could become a connoisseur. Maybe I could train. Maybe I learn how to be a coach. Maybe I learn how to be a referee. Something like that. Something so it's like, and you're at peace with where you are, and you'll be able to build something powerful and comparable. And then that way you could live your life like with as little regret as possible, as opposed to dying 3 years from then because you decided to eat cheeseburgers for the rest of your life because you're just upset that you didn't become a boxer, or you didn't think about doing it, you didn't have the discipline to do it earlier. So I think it's the same thing relationship wise. Instead of like pretending like, oh, I'm okay, I'll just be single and everything will be fine. It's like, no, just accept like, this is what I wanted and I don't have it. So, that kind of sucks. But what I really liked about the whole idea about being with somebody is building some form of legacy. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do stuff that I like. I'm going to root myself down. And then I'm going to be a foster parent. Or I'm going to adopt a kid. And that way I get like a little piece of what I wanted. And like maybe I'll, if something that happens with somebody, it's like, oh, that's cool. But, but I just really want to live for this person. And I could accept this second prize win, as opposed to just being hyperbolic in one direction or the other. You know what I mean? Yeah. Jesus. But yeah, that's my thoughts. Long way to spill out what I was thinking.
You like to spit?
Oh yeah. Oh.
No,
Do I? Oh.
You're a quitter. Your name's Liar.
68 is my favorite number.
Oh, ew.
Oh yeah, we're also talking about like everybody wanting the same things. Well, like I know, like everybody wants people want people to agree with them, but like generically speaking, like on a societal level, like people want to be healthy. People don't want to live in a crime infested neighborhood, unless you're benefiting from it. But like for the most part, like your average Joe, like it doesn't want
compute.
Doesn't want the car still in front of them. But it's like like if we look at politics and that dynamic, like everybody relatively wants the same thing, and and stop and not look at it like, oh, like Republicans are racist and Democrats are stupid, but more so like, all right, well, um, Republicans or conservatives, generically speaking, identify more um, on are more a little bit more biased or want to do a little bit more for for their group that they identify with, as opposed to Democrats that or liberals that want to like help everybody and like and try to do everything for everybody. It's like there's nothing wrong with either of them. You know, like just even though one sounds a little bit more altruistic than the other. You know, when a plane loses cabin air pressure, you got to put the mask on yourself before you put it on the kid.
Yeah.
So it's like there's nothing wrong with wanting to yourself or your group to reach a certain level before you're able to be philanthropic enough to be in a position to help anybody else. Like I can't give anybody a hand up if I'm down here in the shit with you.
Oh yeah, so I mean, some white person who's making $20K a year and is not doing good, just existing could give two shits less about black people.
Yeah.
Because they're
not that they don't like.
Because there's one bad just moment in their life that is gonna make them homeless.
Yeah.
So they can't really like take the time to be like, I wonder if I need to look at my toxic masculinity and my whiteness. Like,
It's like
they literally cannot do that because
they don't have the privilege.
They are just trying to exist.
They don't have the black people around them to identify with, and they're just like there's just no reason out of sight, out of mind. It's like I can't even
I can barely pay.
I'm worried about.
I can barely pay rent.
Yeah, I'm worried about.
Why am I going to care about my whiteness?
Yeah. So yeah, for sure, man. So
I work at Walmart. I'm sorry.
I'm white and I'm sorry. Yeah, so it's like people want to be comfortable, They want to eat, They want to
have electricity.
Yeah. So it's like it's not that everyone's like the root of evil if you don't agree with me. It's just like they're just coming from a different environment, different angle, different perspective, different background. So it's not.
I think it doesn't always have to be poor people. I mean, people still have mortgages, right? They have children.
Mm-hmm. And that just depletes that's it. That's where all the money goes.
We're going to talk about like racial dynamics. What if you're like a fairly successful white guy, but married, 4 kids, and you're trying to make sure that they get a good education, so you're paying for private school.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's not like, unless you're making $300K a year, you're not having a ton of leftover money that you can just go,
yeah.
Hey, you want to go to the Caymans? Like,
you're driving a used 2007 Yaris.
You're still making a good money, you're still living in a good house, but guess what? Like, I mean, like, there's still maintenance on the house, right? There's maintenance on the cars. You probably need multiple cars because you got to take the kids places.
Okay, 2 Yarises. All
right. No, it's a Yaris and a minivan.
Well, yeah, for sure. So it's like,
it's not like that person doesn't have like. So what? They're supposed to have a full-time job, maintain a marriage, and raise 4 kids, and take the time to combat. The whiteness and whatever it is that you're talking about, white privilege and systematic oppression. It's like. I just worked 12 hours and now I gotta help with my kids' homework. Like,
it's just so different people just have different value systems. And
I'm getting home at 7 o'clock. I've been up since 5.
Yeah, I just want to sleep.
What do you really want me to
do? Yeah.
There's only so much time in the day, and the weekend's coming up, and I got 3 baseball games that I have to go to.
Right. But conversely, then there's people who are like out here like in I think I said this in a video, but the Princess and the Frog, where it's like they live in a bad or a poor neighborhood, and like the dad comes home late, and they don't have much, but like she's cooking this big old thing of gumbo, and then they go out to the front porch and they share with all the neighbors. So like there's people who have very little and they still have that philanthropic or altruistic mindset. It's just that people are different, and some people want to consolidate a little bit more than others.
But that ties into how poverty produces greatness.
Yeah, but
look at professional athletes.
Yeah.
Not many of them are coming from 2-parent homes that are making like
Yeah,
household income of $300K. Like, I think the white guys are coming from shit towns and like.
I think poverty presents a litany of problems or challenges to overcome, and the people who are able to overcome those challenges come out phenomenally, and then the people who don't,
well, the vast majority
the vast majority are fucked. So it's not like
you don't get a great musician who had
a very nice, comfy lifestyle,
awesome mental health.
Yeah.
You get Kurt Cobain, who wanted to kill himself all the time.
Yeah.
So when he sings his songs, you're like, oh, there's like actual pain in there.
Yeah, like, oh shit, yeah.
And the same thing would be with hip hop, rap, R&B, like
it's like, oh, you
blues.
My daddy pistol whipped me at 14.
That's more country.
Whoops, crossing genres now.
Crossing the streams.
Yeah. Just watch Ghostbusters. But yeah, for sure. So and it's hard to come from a great environment and then and be able to shit out. What's that saying? Pressure makes a diamond.
Yeah.
So
that's what it is. Because if you don't have to worry about shit, you're not. Trying to do so. It's like.
Yeah, it's harder to you don't have those forced challenges.
I can watch any movie I want on an 80-inch screen TV. Yeah. Am I gonna play basketball 8 hours a day?
Yeah.
Probably not.
That's.
But if I live in a shitty apartment complex and there's people selling drugs and there's maybe every now and then someone gets stabbed.
Yeah, and
I'm gonna just stay on the courts for the day.
Yeah, and I don't feel comfortable with my academic outlooks. It's like, well. What else am I good at? All right, here we go. And it's not to say that if you're in a place of comfort that you can't be successful. It's just that you have to be
even bodybuilders and weightlifters.
Yeah, for sure. But you just have to be incredibly self-motivated in order to come from a place of privilege and still be a diamond. You have to, because in those circumstances, you have to force the challenges onto yourself where there doesn't need to be.
No, it's actually more so the parents. The parents have to force those challenges on the kid.
Yeah. So
combination of the two of what you're saying. You need to be self-motivated, but also
the parents have to set up a litany of challenges or for you to overcome these obstacles so you don't get comfortable or set into a sedentary lifestyle.
You have to have a shitty dad, kind of.
Well, I don't think always, or you could have an encouraging dad where it's like. All right. Well,
shitty. He's gonna have to be on your ass.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Your dad's gonna have to be a form of a coach.
Yeah.
Not shitty, neglectful, but shitty, it's like.
Oh, okay, I follow.
It's all right. There's a video of Dwayne Wade that kind of went viral. He's just doing drill. I don't think it's 3 seconds. I think it's 5 seconds. It's 5 seconds. It's one on drill. But basically. You get the ball. You have 5 seconds to get up your shot. I think it's 5.
Yeah. My man's
I think it's 5.
Just shot.
But he's playing his son, who's I don't know, 16 or something like that. But he's got 30 pounds on him and stuff like that. So he'll be posting him up, kind of body him a little bit, go in.
Yeah.
He'll maybe give him a forearm shove, and then he kind of bitches back, and he's like. He's like, I'm a brick. I've been doing this since day one. And they're she's shitting on his son as if he would be any other player.
Yeah.
So that's the type of person that you would have to be to your kid.
Yeah, for sure. So.
Because his kid was starting to bitch about him using his size, and he was like, "Do something about it."
Right. This is what's going on. I'm not. Yeah.
It's
not a fairy tale life.
It's I've been posting up my whole career.
Yeah.
Quit your fucking whining you.
Yeah, I'm not here to hold your hand through everything, man. It's supposed to be to prepare you for adulthood, not for not to pretend like the world is better than it should be.
Not for bead play.
Hey, Dad, what's that? Come here, son. Now we're back to fucking pedophiles. How the fuck did this happen?
That's something worse. That's a father-son action going on.
Incestuous pedophiles.
Incestuous.
Blasted.
Incestuous. That's what they'll say.
I'm cutting that out.
You ever tell a girl like some weird shit just to creep her out?
Yeah.
Is it like safe?
I don't think so.
If I ever get I'll get gas from time to time, as people do.
Yeah.
And then obviously when you're with a chick long enough, she'll start shitting on you or being like, "Oh, you're gross" or whatever like that.
Yeah.
So eventually I start telling them, "Oh, I can't wait till I wear an adult diaper." And I'll talk about like, "Oh, when I soil myself, will you clean it?"
Oh my god. Will you be? Yo, you need to put that in here. Whenever you do hook up with somebody, just like you guys are going steady. It's like, hey, you guys
I've said it to like 5 women. Like,
I'm just saying that needs to be in vows. In sickness and in health, when he's wearing a diaper.
Sometimes I'll talk about it like, hey, next time I come over, can I wear an adult diaper?
I want you to baby me. I want you to clean out.
No, it's not sexual. It's just because I'll fart and they'll be like, "That is disgusting," and then I'll be like, "Next time I'll just wear my diaper," and then they're just like, "Oh," because they're just imagining me just like lying in their bed shitting my pants. It's pretty gross.
Sometimes I'll turn over and mess with my wife. I'll just be like, "Hey, this time, no grease." She's like, "No." So that's the fucked up things I say.
No grease.
Yeah.
This is gonna be greaseless. Are you skimming?
Yeah, I think I'm cutting down everything. The last thing that we had that I wanted to touch on was maybe we just touch on this next time because no, we'll say something about it. This is going to come up later because we won't have to dive into this deeper. But what like the perspective because it feeds into what we were talking about demonizing one group of people versus instead of just calling them out for the thing that you don't like and but and being honest about what you really want. But the whole sentiment about if they didn't make $1 million, they take $1 million.
Oh, the billionaires.
They didn't take the I don't say $1 million, but I forgot how.
You don't make $1 billion, you take $1 billion.
Yeah. See, I always get the numbers wrong. See, I overestimate people population. I underestimate how much money rich people have. Eat the rich. So I'm just like
I love the eat the rich.
Yeah, I was like, whoa.
That's like the funniest shit.
But it's just it's coming from a place of
because then the people that are wanting to eat them just want to be them.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's just intense jealousy.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Just intense jealousy. It's not a like.
They're just mad that they have drives and figure their life out, and you're a piece of shit.
It's like I'm stuck in this rat race, and I was like, well, there's a series of decisions that you can make.
Meanwhile, AOC has done literally nothing to help poor people.
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, fuck. I know she's like.
I mean, I shouldn't say that. She probably has done something, but like in the grand scheme of things, she's doing. I mean, like.
Yeah, it's like and that whole mindset. And like I know
like the squad.
Yeah, and I know they mean well, you know what I mean? But I think that they just have a different way of
they have a different way of processing, which is completely based off of an ideological approach.
Yeah, that's what the way that they look at things. Obviously, the way that they look at things ideologically is skewed. You know, like everybody's a little biased, but it's like they're looking at it from oh well, this is a form, like how Marxism and socialism is more so of it's not really about um, well, I don't know about socialism, but Marxism was never about centralizing power and administering it so everybody's treated equally.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always been about the way that people interact with each other. And like there's like the modes of production being outside of the hands of the few and being dispersed to everybody else. And in a free society, you can have that. That does exist. They have plenty of companies and plenty of different industries that they give not even stock, not only discounted. You could buy stocks at a discounted rate, but they give stock options to employees, and they're like voting members, and they can make these big decisions. They can voice out what should we open the second store over here or not, or should we open the second resort location or not, or should we just maintain this? Should we charge this amount versus that? Should we have these kind of amenities? Should we get rid of that? There's a lot of things that operate in that way. Um, they're a lot harder to make big changes and to keep up with the market because just by its nature, there's so many people that are necessary in order to be involved in the decision making process,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to the traditional top down CEO um, um, approach, or it's like, okay, well, I'm the guy in charge. I make these decisions, and if the board of trustees don't like it, they're gonna get rid of me and hire somebody else who's gonna make decisions that they're a fan of.
Mm-hmm.
But like I think the AOC, like the whole eat the rich mentality, is coming from a place of trying to help everybody reach that level of success, and they don't the way that they think ideologically of how to get there is different than what some other people think, and so I don't think they're coming from a place of non-constructiveness. You know what I mean? But
You are very nice.
But it's like they're just I like to assume that they're trying to do, or at least the people that believe in them, the majority of people who believe in them, think that it's because that they're in it for to help them, and they're just they have a different idea of how to help them. So it's like, all right, they're looking at it from a different perspective. They're looking at it from a way
Idealistic people are dangerous.
Yeah, and like it's crazy because
they're not practical.
I think about what we just talking about Nick Cannon. When he was talking about because you're like a melanin, you don't have the sympathy
the ability to be compassionate.
Yeah. So it's like that's not, and it's not coming from a place of knowledge.
But it is.
Oh, it's not coming from a place of.
That was knowledge that he obtained.
It's not coming from a place.
He also isn't. He also, I don't think, was trying to be malicious.
Okay, you're a nice guy. Look at you.
But it's still incredibly dangerous.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Not to take away from it. Yeah. So I can't see knowledge, but historical context. Like like there's groups that like in Russia when they had ideas about the commune, because like like in poor areas there was a commune and everything was equal. Everybody shared everything, and then there was the whole like there was the bourgeoisie and and then there was everybody else. And like that was back at the time, like even during the scientific revolution in Europe and all that, Russia was still this intense time of haves and have-nots. And then all of a sudden, they beat Napoleon. And after beating Napoleon, like all these have-nots were treated like heroes, and they went across Europe and they saw the way that a lot of people lived and the way that they looked at them. Then they went back home to Russia and they were treated like shit. And it's like, and in 40 years in the Industrial Revolution, expedited, technology to a certain level. And then they started having all these ideas of, how I should be as an individual and how we should really function in society. And then And then there was this whole idea by the bourgeoisie about these communes, like, oh, people who are poor and they live in these communes, it's wonderful out there. They share everything, everything's perfect. They all share their land and they all share their drinks and their harvest and everything's fair and equal and da da da. And they would go out there and they'll just be like they'll be disgusted at what the reality is, because it's like, oh, we could have 40 acres and 40 people and split up the acreage evenly. But that land is fertile in this land. And then it's like, oh, I have more than you do. And it's like, drinking is heavy. And, beating your wives is heavy. And women are hardened. And growing up in that environment is heavy. And then there's even disparity within the commune. But they didn't see that because they looked at it from a point of privilege in their nice, St. Petersburg address and the way that they're looking at everything. Then they go out to everywhere else in the country. And they're just like, oh shit, it's not what it's supposed to be, and so it's like kind of the same thing now when we're like we're trying to make an equivalency of the way it should be result wise, and we have this idea of this is what it should be, and this will be great for everybody, but in reality, we've tried different variations of this before, and this was the result. That's not the result that you want. So it's like, and in a free society, in a democratic society, you can have what you're talking about, but in a socialist or and it's not, can't say that they want to abolish government and make it a socialist society, but let's say like even the government pumping a large amount of funds into all these entitlement programs isn't necessarily gonna gain the result that you want it to have, because like right now you could be even if you fail at everything, you could still get money from unemployment, you could get SNAP benefits, you get vouchers for different things, so it's amazing. But at the end then if they start working, then they start taking some of the entitlements away. So then what ends up happening, the result of what it is that they end up with being stuck in this mentality of, well, why am I going to work for less if I could just not do anything and reap all these benefits? So I just don't think these ideas are
you're incentivizing poverty.
Exactly, and I don't think that that's what they want to do, but I don't think that they see where what they're proposing is leading to. So I'll just leave it at that, and then we could build off of that later, and you can come up with your fucking graphs and all that shit. Yeah, that's why I was like, maybe I won't go into this because it's like a whole other thing.
It's a lot.
Yeah. But yeah. I'm trying to cover everything that we. Shit, this is a long video. I think. I don't know. Oh shit, yeah.
It's a little bit.
Sorry, I'll cut it a little bit down. Yeah. Be nice to everybody. Don't make assumptions. Or try not to.
Is that the moral of the story?
Embrace your inner anal bead.
We got cut up with the beads. So we're gonna have to rename the podcast.
What's the significance of these anal beads? Sex stores are gonna start approaching us for deals. You're like, all right, then politics. Today brought to you by Waxy Crescent.
Use the promo code BEATS to get 15% off your first order.
Promo code shit.